Oh, the weather outside is frightful.
But inside is so delightful.
It's Christmas in July.
Let's review.
Let's review.
Let's review.
Want more?
Look for
Season 4.
Bum.
Bum.
Yes, greetings, Armchair Imagineers. Welcome to the penultimate installment of Christmas in July 2017. Dragon, how is your holiday in the summertime going?
Okay.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Dragon, you know what I'm realizing right off the bat that I don't want to deal with the whole podcast is that my video is severely lagging. I don't know why. I tried restarting my computer right before we went on, so I'm going to go ahead and pull up a screen cap to use, Dragon, because you know we see all the Christmas stuff. It's there. There's a set. Hi, Grinch. Let's see. We got Olaf here. We got Olaf. You know, he's kind of our summer mascot for Christmas in July. All right, you guys good? Okay, so folks, what we are here to do tonight is we are here to come up with Christmas special pitches for essentially Dragon. I was kind of doing mine on Netflix. That was my idea, is to kind of do like a 1 hour Netflix special. I don't know where you kind of fell in.
Well, essentially mine, I'd love mine to be on Netflix, but there's a chance it could be on TV. But whatever it is has like the Marvel money behind it, so either or.
Okay. Well, let's just dive right into it then, folks. Of course, the only criteria for this is that it has to have, basically, we're doing pitches for the Spider-Man Homecoming version of the Spider-Verse. Now, Dragon, I don't know about you. I haven't really incorporated any of the MCU, like, other characters. Like, to me, I mostly just stuck to the Spider-Man mythos. But, you know, other things included in the MCU are fine as well. But, you know, of course, it's just kind of taking the characters that we knew to grow in love in Homecoming and hopefully give them a little bit more pathos. That's what we're here to do tonight. And give the Incredible Hulk a great big holiday gift. Oh, yes.
Right.
All right.
And also, of course, the way we go about these pitches, folks, is earlier we did the 13 reasons, before we've done the 13 reasons why Christmas pitch. We're going to go act one, basically go back and forth, act 1, 2, 3, and then, because it's a Marvel property, mid-credit, then post-credits. Back and forth. So that's how we're going to fire off. And Tiki, you start us off.
Okay, I do not have a title for my special, unfortunately.
How funny. I actually have a title for mine. It's very simple, but it's.
I'll admit my 13 Reasons Why special was garbage, but I thought I had a good title for it, 13 Days of Christmas. But anyways. Okay, yeah. I don't have a title, but I will say that my main focus is going to be on the Lizard. And Dragon, I don't know how you're going to feel about this, but I'm kind of cross-pollinating with the Raimi-verse in sort of a fun way throughout this special. I'm not bringing back everyone to reprise their roles and everything like that. I'm bringing back 2 people in particular to reprise their roles. One of them being Curt Connors. The other one should be obvious if you've been paying attention to what we want. Okay, so Dylan Baker returns as Dr. Curt Connors, Dragon. He is, I don't want to say he's exactly the same guy that we saw in the Sam Raimi movie, but of course he is playing the same character.
Well, he'd have to be a high school teacher instead of a college.
That's the thing. He would be a high school teacher in this one, so that would probably be the big difference. Of course, in this one, Dragon, I don't remember. In the original Raimi-verse, did he have his arm missing?
Yes, he did.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Just checking.
That's not half the character. That's literally half the character.
Well, no, I wasn't sure if they were that far along in the mythology yet or not with him. I wasn't sure if that was like a thing they were building up towards. Anyway, so yeah, okay. So he's got his arm missing, of course. And Dragon, I don't know. I think you're gonna like the Christmas assignment that Dr. Connors came up with, okay? Because you know what the first image of the special is?
What?
Putting the mistletoe underneath a microscope.
Nice. Right. Yeah.
So basically, as a fun holiday assignment, Curt Connors is like, it's kind of a nice, like, fun, easy A, you know what I mean? Like, Curt Connors is like, all right, class, here's what we're going to do. You guys are going to get any Christmas-related thing that you can think of, and put it under a microscope and, like using the scientific terms that we've come up with in the class, like write down what you see. So basically like groups of people, like we have like eggnog under the microscope, and like stuffing from Santa hats candy canes, wrapping paper, and of course mistletoe underneath the microscope. So so that's kind of a fun a fun way to start out. So, Dragon, we kind of established what's been going on with Ned and Peter and Michelle. Essentially, those three are kind of like, they're like a trio. They're like the three amigos at this point. They're, they're kind of this big nerd clique.
Right.
And let's see, Ned and Peter are basically competing to get Michelle the ultimate nerd Christmas present.
I see.
Peter hasn't decided what present he wants to get her. He wants to make hers a little more personal. Ned, however, is dead set on what he wants to get her. Now, Dragon, I want you to take a guess at it. I'll give you a hint. It's another Lego Star Wars set.
Oh, geez. It's... could it be Hoth?
No, I'll give you one more hint. It is based around the Empire.
Okay, so it's the Empire specifically.
Yeah, it's specifically an Empire set. Yes.
And when I say Hoth, I also mean like the Imperial Walker. So it's no Imperial Walker?
It's not an ATST.
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Oh god. Is it Endor?
Along the same lines of the Death Star.
It's not the second Death Star, is it?
No.
Oh, jeez. A Star Destroyer?
Yeah, Star Destroyer. You got it.
There we go. Okay, there we go. Star Destroyer. Okay.
All right. So yes, Ned is like, I'm telling you, Peter. Lego Star Destroyer. It's Lego and it's Star Wars. All right. And of course Michelle is just being like all nonchalant about it, like, you guys are really fighting over a girl in front of her. You guys are losers, But she's doing it in like a playful way, She's cracking a smile when she calls.
Are they actually trying to win over affection, or just like a friend thing?
It's kind of a little bit of both. Like it is a friend thing, but I think Peter and Ned are both secretly kind of crushing on her. Okay. So trust me, it'll come to a head throughout the special. That's kind of like a big part of it. Anyways. Okay, so let's see. While at the mall, Peter sees a jacket that is like kind of like a classic like frumpy Michelle jacket. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it would fit with her wardrobe, but it's a little bit outside his price range. In the same mall, he spots a woman who's her car broke down, her truck broke down actually, of Secret Santa presents for needy children. And Peter sees the opportunity. He's like, "Hey, ma'am, I'll deliver the presents." "Oh, thank you, kind sir." And I know, Dragon, I know it's kind of like a cheap comic book setup, but go with it, all right? Because it leads to a fantastic montage of Spider-Man swinging around with a sack of presents set to Jingle Bell Rock.
You and I are going to have some similarities.
We probably will.
Mine goes in a really different direction, but I think we're starting from similar places. Let's keep going.
So just imagine, like, Spider-Man, like, jingle bell, jingle bell, jingle bell, rock.
Like jingle bell, thwip.
And of course, the big thing is, they have to time, like, when they sing Jingle Bell Swing, you have to get a good web swing. Jingle Bell Swing. And, like, Spider-Man, like, he's, like, throwing presents and then shooting webs on them to stick them to doors, and he's going and greeting the kids and, like, "Hey, kids," like, "Yay, it's Spidey Santa." It's adorable.
Spider Claus.
Yeah, Spider Claus. That's much better than Spidey Santa. Thank you. All right. And of course, Dragon, more importantly, the whole time, we're getting great publicity photos for Spider-Man.
Yeah. Because
Peter Parker has taken a job at the Daily Bugle.
Of course.
And here we have it, Dragon, the man, the myth, the legend himself, as Peter walks by Betty Brant, who's taken up an internship at the Daily
All right.
Bugle.
Oh, by the way, Tiki, I meant to mention this on Homecoming. Did you know the girl who plays Betty Brant in the Homecoming in the MCU? That's the
Yeah.
girl from Nice Guys.
Oh, it is? Oh, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
That's really good casting.
I
Yeah,
remember she was cast in the movie. Yeah, okay.
That's really good
nice.
casting. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing more of Betty Brant going forward because I love that character, and that's a good actress.
I would honestly love to see like Betty Brant as a main interest for Peter Parker in a Spider-Man movie.
Well, we know Peter does have a thing for Betty Brant. I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Mhm.
Maybe she has a crush on him instead. He's gonna switch it up. Well,
That'd be
anyway,
great.
keep
That'd be great.
going. Okay, so walking by Betty Brant is in it.
Yeah, it's just a quick little cameo, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like, hey, there's Betty Brant.
Yeah.
And then, okay, Dragon, you ready for the line? You ready for the line?
Yes.
So J. Jonah Jameson turns around. Of course, it's J.K. Simmons, and he yells, "Parker, you look a lot You look a lot younger than the last time I saw you. What are you doing? Drinking from the fountain of youth? Whatever this kid's having for breakfast, I want some." Now, Dragon, I just want to point out, I like that line specifically because of how specific he gets, like, whatever this kid's having for breakfast, specifically. I don't know. I just feel like that's a classic JJ-ism.
No, that's a fun little fourfold way of addressing the whole difference in Spider-Man.
Well, exactly. I mean, that's what I've been pitching the whole time. I mean, if you go back through the podcast, I've probably given, like, a variant on that line, like, about 5 or 6 times in different pitches and speculations that we've done for Spider-Man over the years.
Hey, let's face it, folks. If we can have just one character, if we can have like one actor from the eight different franchises Spider-Man films going to come in for the MCU, if we can only have one, obviously we go to J.K. Simmons as J.J. Jameson.
Oh, yeah.
If we could have one.
Oh yeah. And of course, with this, I'm doing 2, just because, let's face it, poor Dylan Baker, man, that guy got screwed.
He did.
He was in the whole trilogy. They were building him up,
and he was good. He was
It was good. Yeah, yeah.
Role, you know, he's helping Spider-Man on the side. Very much kind of a Lucius Fox's Spider-Man.
Right. Oh man. Okay, so basically, Dragon, the problem with the pictures that Peter gave him is that these are pictures of Spider-Man helping orphans. Parker, that doesn't help my cause at all. Don't you know what this paper is all about? It's all about exposing Spider-Man for the menace that he is. I'll give you half cut.
He hit Ant-Man. Everyone loves Ant-Man.
Oh, God. And then we mention, we basically have a direct callback to Spider-Man 2 where he mentions, my son, the astronaut.
Yep.
Who's, you know, he's a little forlorn. You know, he's a little bit like, my son, the astronaut, is up in space. And it's my first Christmas without him, Parker.
Oh.
So in a way, JJ is kind of our Scrooge, Dragon.
All right.
He's kind of our Scrooge.
That's cool.
I mean, he doesn't have a lot to do, but in terms of, like, you know, the arcs, I would say that he's got the Scrooge arc.
Okay.
Okay. And of course, Dragon, just the whole, like, the astronaut being up in space thing, like, we don't directly, you know, we don't directly say it, but if you're smart, you're going to put the pieces together and be like, symbiote. And they're doing it the right way. The astronauts are actually coming back with the symbiote.
Yeah.
All right. Let me see. I'm speeding through Act 1, Dragon, so I'm going to be done quickly here. Okay, so we see Kirk Connors in his lab with the lights off, and he's watching a slideshow of pictures of his son growing up, and this is over multiple Christmases. So it's, you know, it's like Billy's first Christmas, Billy's 5th Christmas, you know, just kind of seeing his son grow up. And honestly, throughout the special, we don't really know why Connors is isolated from Billy and his family, but we just kind of get the sense, like, we get just enough information to piece together that he's kind of he's kind of exiling himself from the family because he's just afraid of what he might become. And he's just kind of, like, humiliated. And you know, he's just kind of, like, driven into his own work too. So, you know, he's kind of like in exile right now about it. But
is he in exile because, like, he's beginning treatments for lizard stuff or what?
Yes, I mean, he will be beginning treatments for the lizard stuff, but he's more in exile because he's been just trying to find a cure for the missing arm and everything, and it's just been, like, consuming him.
Right. Okay, so the pursuit of the treatment. Okay.
Exactly. So basically, like, we don't know how far estranged from his family he is. We just kind of get these hints. I kind of left it a little bit up in the air.
At least we're addressing the kid this time. At least
Oh yeah, we're definitely addressing the kid.
Right.
Okay, let me see. Yeah, that's it. That's it. We just get a quick glimpse of Connor, you know, like being remorseful, looking at the kid and everything, looking at the pictures. Okay, so next, so Peter, Ned, and Michelle, they've decided that they will be dissecting Ned's Lego Death Star for the microscope experiment. As they're, it cuts to the lunch table the next day. You know, so. And also Ned's kind of like, Michelle, oh, no, I'm sorry. Ned's like, the Lego Death Star, a.k.a. the world's most epic Christmas present. And, you know, you can just tell, like, Ned is just so proud of his Lego stuff. No, they're deconstructing the Death Star.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Ned hasn't bought Ned's going to buy the Star Destroyer for Michelle.
Okay, I got you now.
Yeah, but Ned already has the Lego Death Star, and he's basically being a salesman right now, Dragon. Like, the Lego Death Star, it's got 3,000 pieces. It's a, you know, it's a scale replica of the real thing in Lego form. All right. They're just doing their presentation in class. Okay. So Dragon, I'm gonna need your help on the logistics here, all right? Because I want an Adrian Toomes cameo, but I'm not sure where Adrian Toomes is currently located.
Well, we know where he's located.
Tell me. I just don't remember.
Well, he's in prison, Tiki.
No, I know, but like which prison? Like
right.
Where? Is he out of state or what?
Well, I know he's in New York. I'm pretty sure he's in New York. Which I don't think he's in Rikers. I think he's on like one of the fictional.
Okay, you know what? As long as he's in New York, that's all I need to know.
There is a chance he could be at the raft, which could be like right. It's you know, wherever we saw in Civil War that he could be there, but it's unclear. They didn't really specify where he was, but he is a super criminal, which is where they put the guys from the raft. So it's the point is he's in a prison. Let's just say it's in New York. It's a prison.
Okay, well, just for the sake of sentimentality and because we love Michael Keaton, Dragon, let's just suspend the rules of disbelief and have Peter swing by the prison, literally, and visit Adrian Toomes in prison. You know, during the typical, like, visit, you know, you, like, behind the glass and everything, much like Flash and Flash's dad, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of setup. Right. And Dragon, I think you're going to like this. First of all, Toomes warns Peter about the Scorpion. He's like, there's a man, Peter. There's a man here that just got released, and he's looking for you. Like, I tell you, son, like, I didn't go after him. Like, I'm indebted to you for saving my life, so I'm not going to give you up. But this man's looking. And so, you know, we get some setup for the Scorpion. And then also, I think you're going to really like this, Dragon. Peter gives him a present, which is basically a collection of yearbook photos taken with Liz in it.
Oh.
Basically kind of showing off, like, you know, like how multi-talented Liz was, you know, because she's on, like, the cheerleading squad and the, you know, and the, whatever the trivia thing that the decathlon, the academic decathlon, and, you know, and like all kinds of different stuff, you know, like community service, and, you know, like basically the whole idea is like, look how amazing your daughter is, and you've got a great family, and, you know, so basically we're establishing that Peter and Toomes are like good with each other, you know what I mean?
That's cool, but I want to specify. So you're saying like Liz sent these to Peter, and then he.
No. I'm saying that Peter got this on his own accord.
Well, you gotta remember, she's not at the school anymore.
No, I know that, and that's why he. Because basically Liz was a senior in Homecoming.
Yeah.
And so Peter like basically went through the 4 years that she was in high school through the yearbooks, like archived yearbooks. And like clip pictures out of that with the school's permission, of course.
What's nice is that that's you know, it's Peter kind of using his photo prowess.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I had in mind. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So it's just like it's a good cameo for Michael Keaton. I'd really like to see the Vulture and Peter Parker in kind of an alliance going forward, and I think this is some good setup for that. All right. So let's see. So then we get to Peter arriving back home in Queens, and we have the first big action set piece, which is him fighting Michael Mandow as the Scorpion, who's prowling the neighborhood.
So he got out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he got out. Well, yeah, I told you, Toomes warned Peter that he got out.
Okay.
And so basically, Dragon, the gist of this fight is that he's fighting Scorpion, and at this point, he's not going to have the Scorpion tail or anything yet. At this point, it's just going to be, I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. Whatever the name of the guy is.
Matt Gargan.
Yeah, Matt Gargan. Yeah, at this point, it's just going to be Matt Gargan. You know, it's just going to be Michael Mandow. Like, we're going to save some of the, you know, like, basically the Scorpions dropping by to be like, hey, remember this guy at the end of Homecoming? You know, like.
Essentially, he's a small-time cartel guy right now. That's where he is right now.
Exactly. You know, he's kind of, and so basically the gist of this fight is that he's broken into the house and Aunt May is out. Aunt May is at the airport picking up a relative who we will soon meet.
So he figured it out. He figured out that Peter's Spider-Man.
Yes. And so basically the gist of this fight is that Peter knows that Aunt May is going to be like, if Aunt May knew that there was a criminal who stalked Peter directly to the house, you know, like that would just be it. Like she would just boil over, you know, because of course we get that cliffhanger at the end of Homecoming. We have to address in this that she knows that Peter is Spider-Man.
Yes, so which made this hard to write, by the way. They all knows that Peter's Spider-Man. That's cool. It's just like, again, for like not doing like basically a sequel, you doing kind of like the fill in the blanks type stuff. That's so difficult.
Right, but basically the idea is that this fight, like Peter's trying to take it as far away from Queens as possible. So he's like essentially like swinging Mandow up, and he doesn't want Mandow anywhere near Queens, right? Like he doesn't want to see, like basically his plan is to just stick him to the side of a building on a web or something like that.
Like in the Bronx or something. Like
right.
Like the next adjoining city would be like the Bronx. Yeah,
exactly. Exactly, because the whole idea he doesn't want to see Aunt May driving by and, you know, seeing some guy like webbed up. You know what I mean? Because Aunt May will connect the dots very quickly on that. Okay, so of course we, you know, so that's basically what happens. You know, the guy gets stuck up on the Bronx on a building, and Peter makes an anonymous phone call reporting him, and let's see. Yeah. Okay, so then we get a family. Oh, gosh, I'm really not sure how you're going to feel about this. All right, are you ready?
Yes.
So the woman that May was picking up at the airport was May's mother. Would you like to guess who plays May's mother?
Let me guess. Rosemary Harris?
Yup, Rosemary Harris. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Now look, like this is one of those casting calls even I wasn't really all that comfortable with, because I mean I wish I had more for the character to do, but essentially
here I am going for like a Rolodex of actors and things. Like, hey, let's go Raymond movies for everyone.
Oh, and I've got a Franco cameo. Don't you worry, I've got a Franco cameo.
Franco, like Simmons is necessary, and everything else is like, come on, now we're just forcing everything in there. That's what it sounds like.
I would be pushing it if I went into like Dafoe.
That's what I'm saying. Come on, Dafoe. That's a hair too far.
Oh, but you might not like my Uncle Ben then.
All right, just keep
going. We'll see. I'm very curious how you're going to feel about my.
I'm proud of my casting. I had some good casting.
You know what? I'm proud of my casting on Uncle Ben as well.
Yeah, I think I got some good Uncle Bens. Anyway, keep going.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah. Look, the whole point of Rosemary Harris showing up as May's mother is basically like, if we wanted to in continuity, it'd be kind of like, well, the May that we met in the Raimi trilogy was like Peter Parker's great aunt. In the alternate universe where Peter Parker is like Tobey Maguire, right? But just it kind of helps kind of alleviate the age gap with May a little bit, I think. And just it'd be nice to see Rosemary Harris again. And also, more specifically, Dragon, I just needed May to be out of the house. And I thought it'd be fun to have, like, as we're having this action scene, having May stuck in traffic, calling Peter, like, oh, Peter, I'm sorry, we're stuck in traffic, like, you can take something out of the fridge for dinner. And Peter's like, okay, Aunt May, that's fine. I'm kind of busy right now. So that kind of, I don't know. I just like the whole idea of, like, stuck in traffic at the airport, which I would say is probably a trope. All right. Let's see. So, okay, so let's see. May is also in kind of dismay because she can't find Ben's old Vietnam photographs. She said Ben always kept, she was looking through Ben's desk, and he always kept them on the second drawer of the desk, and she can't find them anywhere. And this presents us with a flashback, Dragon, and here we go. Here we go. Down the Raimi rabbit hole once again. You want to know who's playing Uncle Ben?
Well, one second. You're saying Uncle Ben would have been like around 18 in Vietnam?
Yeah, something like that. Sure.
That's fine. I just wanted to clarify. Yeah, who do we
like in his early 20s? In his early 20s, something like that.
Right.
Okay, Dragon. Look, I didn't just pull this guy because of the Raimi thing. All right, I want you to know that right up top. All right, the reason I pulled this guy is because I do think this guy has a very fatherly quality to him, and he'd be kind of a little bit of a cool variation on the standard Uncle Ben that we've seen. He'd be a little bit younger than the Uncle Bens that we've seen, but also able to really carry that fatherly wisdom. And also it'd be a cool kind of tie, not just to Raimi, but also a fun nod at the comic books as well. We're getting Alfred Molina. Come on down. Da 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 da. Da 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 da.
Well, I really do like Alfred Molina, and
that's the thing, Dragon. I think that Alfred Molina would make a really good Uncle Ben. Like, you don't have to have him look anything like Dr. Octopus, right? Like, that'd be the trick. Like, put him in some kind of balding wig. You know what I mean? Give him new makeup. You know, like he's gonna look older than he looked in 2004 in Spider-Man 2. Anyways, like, obviously he's not playing the same character. But what I want from this guy, you know, because Alfred Molina, he's kind of got that Eastern European charm thing going on, right? And I want that from Uncle Ben as well. I want Uncle Ben to kind of have a little bit of he's kind of like a second generation American. You know what I mean? Like, his father hailed from Eastern Europe. Like, that's kind of the vibe I want to get from Uncle Ben. Just a little bit more of a spice on him, you know? And so, yeah, Fred Molina, like I said, and of course, it's also the fun thing, Dragon. I couldn't resist it. Like, the cherry on top with this casting for me was just the whole fun fact in the comics. Like, oh, in the comics, Aunt May has a thing for Dr. Octopus.
Oh, jeez. That explains it.
I will admit that was part of my thought process. I will admit.
And I know Molina could do it, but again, it's like part of me feels like I applaud the casting choice. At the same time, I'm like, again, we're pulling way too much. That one's going to be noticeable. J.J. Jameson, like, J.K. Simmons is that role. Everyone else, though, it's a little bit like, yeah, it's kind of noticeable. I don't know. The makeup, you're kind of selling me. I'm iffy on it. Keep going.
Okay. So basically, we get a flashback, and basically, it's kind of the same. It's the same sort of car scene that we got with the original Raimi Spider-Man, but it's got a bit of a variation on it. Essentially, Ben is asking Peter.
I'm sorry, this is a flashback.
Yeah, this is a flashback. We get a flashback from May mentioning the Vietnam photos. Okay, so Molina, he takes out of his jacket pocket an envelope that's filled with his Vietnam photos that he was that he usually had in his drawer, in his desk drawer. And, keep in mind, this is the event where he's dropping Peter off to go to he thinks Peter's going to the library. Instead, Peter's going to go to the wrestling match. And so basically Ben's like, hey, Peter, while you're at the library, can you do me a favor and get on the computer and, do the Photoshop thing that you kids do and touch up a few of these photos, a few of these Vietnam photos. It'd be great to see him like touched up a little. They're a little worn for wear. And essentially, Dragon, we see through the photos kind of Ben not only being very heroic, but also we see Ben kind of being the face of, basically every photo, like what I want to visualize with these photos is every photo of Ben. Ben is the one who has a look of triumph on his face. He's the one who, who's like, who's bold and determined and who's really not letting adversity get to him. Like, that's really what I want to kind of power through with these photographs. And of course, like I said, he's giving the pictures to Peter for two reasons. One, because he wants to give Peter kind of the busy work at the library, maybe not, maybe kind of like get him off the streets a little bit. We don't know what's going on with him at this stage. And two, also just to appreciate the man that Ben is in the photos, and especially if you're working in something like Photoshop, that's a really good opportunity to really get down to the nitty gritty of the details of a photo. Right. So I thought that was a good kind of motivation for Ben right there.
All right.
Okay. So then we get a quick cut of the cage match with Bonesaw.
Oh, come on. You're using Bonesaw again.
I'm using Bonesaw, but you're going to love who I cast as him. You'll find out who I cast as him in the second act. And basically, the end of the second act is the flashback ends with Peter. He's in the wrestling cage, and he realizes that the envelope filled with Uncle Ben's pictures was dropped in the wrestling ring. Oh. And that's the end of Act 1. So essentially, Peter's going to have to go back to the place where the Spider-Man mythology had its unfortunate beginnings to reclaim what is properly his. All right. All right, yeah. Act 2, Dragon. Or, I'm sorry, Act 1 for you. Act 1 for you. Go
All right, let me amend something I was saying before, because it dawned on me. Yeah, I kind of figured out. I completely forgot. But yes, mine is absolutely on Netflix. I need the full hour. Mine's
okay. Okay. Cool.
Mine's on Netflix as per usual. I try to make this thing as viable as you can. Like, this could actually happen between movies. I gotta kind of walk the line, not doing the sequel, but I do have some setup here. And I also find a way of kind of doing some familiar stuff and referencing some familiar stuff from Spider-Man, but kind of doing it through the Homecoming MCU vibe of, we're gonna do things differently. If it's kind of my mantra of like, after seeing Homecoming, especially a few times, kind of dawned on me that the way we're doing the MCU Spider-Man is we've kind of accepted the other franchises as kind of like takes on like a Spider-Man era of stories. And going forward, we're going to kind of see stuff we haven't seen before with Spider-Man primarily. But what I'm going to argue in addition to that is and I'd recommend this going forward in the MCU, is that let's not be afraid to reintroduce familiar concepts, but we're going to do it differently. So that's kind of my thesis, along with kind of what the direction they're going in. So I might step on some familiar toes. I'm going to do something different and fun with it. So, okay. My title is, and believe me, it has good resonance, especially at the end. It all pays off in the end, folks. Merry Christmas, Spider-Man.
Well, that's a heartwarming title if I've ever heard one.
Oh yeah, you're gonna love that what the payoff is. I know you're gonna love it. Love it. Okay. I'm so excited. Okay, Act 1. Okay, we start.
Time is of the essence.
Okay, we see flickering lights. We go from regular dark to red. Like the red emergency light. Importantly, the red. We see a man wearing a green suit. A man in green is emptying ATMs with merely a touch. He is whistling jingle bells.
Oh boy. Okay.
And then, of course, Spider-Man. He kind of enters. Kind of in that classic Spider-Man pose. Really don't get enough. He's kind of webbing down, kind of like in the Spider-Man kiss position. He's kind of like all webbed up and upside down. And he has a quip that says, "Well, if it isn't the Grinch who stole Christmas." Let's give you that tingly feeling, and basically he tells Karen to use the taser webs. Basically give him that a taser warm tingly feeling inside. Make his heart go through size that day. You got web slings, a little taser. He shoots a taser web at him, no effect. The guy then turns around, he grabs it and electrifies the web, breaking the web shield. The web shears, web shears. It's done. Then to reveal, of course, that's the great introduction of Electro.
Oh, God. Okay.
So here's my take on Electro. So, again, I wanted to leave room to grow. So there is room to grow in this, but here's where we're going to do Electro differently and make him fun. So I'm kind of doing what I've always wanted to do with the Scorpion, but we're doing a different take with the Scorpion. So it's kind of mixing some stuff I've wanted to see in Spider-Man for a long time here. So this Electro, he's a young hotshot. He's essentially, just to boil it down here, he's like if Peter was irresponsible with his power. That's what we were doing with Electro. He was also a young guy, maybe a year or two older than Peter Parker. He's if he's not 17, then maybe he's 19. I'm kind of going with the classic stuff. He's in the class as close to the classic suit of Electro as you can get. He's in the green and yellow, and he has a mask. It's a practical suit, though. So essentially, it's like a green non-conductive suit, like a green head. Like a green suit, and has these yellow coils on it, kind of looking like lightning bolts. They look, like the yellow coils kind of filter out the electricity into the best way of putting it. He has a web shooter for his whole body, and that's the way the original Electro went. He was a guy who was struck by lightning, and he was a conductor of electricity, and he built a web shooter suit that shot lightning instead of webs. over his body. So I'm kind of doing that with it. So again, I'm doing the original version, but like let's say down the line, it has a mishap with the suit, then it becomes like he evolves and he becomes the Electro like we saw with Jamie Foxx. He's all electricity head to toe.
Right, okay.
And in terms of actor, I have two choices here. One I've kind of been saving for Harry Osborn, so I'm saying he's a maybe. Like Dylan Minetti, honestly, I'd like to see as Harry Osborn.
I can see that. That'd be great.
So I'm saying, like,
Dylan Minetti should like have a contract to be in every single teen movie franchise ever.
For my money, yes.
Like, I really want to see him in Ready Player One somewhere.
So I like two choices for Electro. I'm saying Dylan Minetti if we don't ever get him for Harry Osborn, but if not, then here's the definite go-to guy. I'm saying this is my go-to guy for this. Joe Keery. Joe Keery was the boyfriend from Stranger Things. He's like the long-haired boyfriend.
Right.
He's in all the Ferris Bueller commercials they're doing now. That's the guy who I want for Scorpion if I had to pick.
Well,
so the idea is like
these Electro.
What did I say?
You said Scorpion.
Crap. Yes, I mean Electro.
You know who
sorry.
Scorpion is.
I know. Yes, sorry. I meant Electro. No.
Michael Mandow just sheds one single tear. He's like,
no, I treat
like me.
Hey, I treat Mandow well.
Oh, I know.
I got betrayed Mandow. Okay, so the idea of these two, honestly, Spider-Man and Electro are very like-minded, being like kind of the young geniuses they are. Because he's a genius. He kind of built like a web shooter setup with a suit here. He built the suit, and also he has like a green helmet that has like a little face port, so he could have like the mouth. So when the electricity's crackling, he would look exactly like the comic book Electro, which is cool.
Nice.
So anyway, so they banter, they duke it out in kind of like a little ATM area, kind of like we saw at the beginning of Homecoming, a little homage there. They're duking it out. He's Spider-Man's doing stuff like calling him Grinch again, guy in a green suit stealing around Christmas time.
Mm-hmm.
We get into like the Electro name. He basically explains, "Hey, the name's Electro." I mean, he came up with himself. He's very proud, like this. It's like a kid testing out his new trick. That's kind of what he's doing here. It's like his new bank robbing trick. He basically has a line that alludes to the origin. I don't know if this would exactly be the origin. Basically, this would be kind of explaining, like, yeah, it's not the typical Electro. He has like a line saying, "Well, I was struck by lightning." And basically, Spider-Man's saying, "Well, that's typical. Yeah, of course you call yourself Electro if you're struck by lightning. This guy doesn't have all his marbles." They both have like a moment where they geek out as like they're kind of saying, "Hey man, cool suit." And says, "Oh yeah, I just basically saying, hey, I built a web." Again, they're both science geeks. That's the idea.
Right.
Like,
that's fun.
Like in another life, these two could be pals.
So basically, it's kind of like the Jamie Foxx version, but done tastefully and not done like with the creepy, like autistic fanboy.
I wouldn't go that far with it, but yeah, sure. I'll take that. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so they're again they're kind of bantering a lot. They're kind of like snap out of it. Oh wait, let's go back to fighting.
Okay.
The fight is then taken outside. It's winter in New York. There's snow on the ground. It's not snowing, but there's snow on the ground. Spider-Man's commenting on the cold. He's asking, "Hey Karen, can you put the suit on thermal? It's chilly out here." She then tells Peter, and this is like a fun setup I'm proud of here. She tells Peter, "Yes, is there anything else I can do for you? The suit can play Christmas music." It can.
Nice.
Man, this suit really is the gift that keeps on giving. Karen is then playing. Karen, you pick. Karen puts on, "It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas." But basically, again, it's like a way of scoring the fight scenes of Christmas music.
For
So
sure.
they begin their fight again, more fight, more banter. Like if there's again, now we're outside, so a different setting for all this, and they're kind of like chasing. Again, we're not in like the greater Manhattan area. It's like it's a very street level fight. Again, we're trying to do something a little differently than what we usually get. Or Bill, I think the second one will probably get us more to the old stuff, but I don't know. Like for example, Spider-Man suggesting, if I were you, I'd get a holiday job instead of robbing ATMs. You ever thought of that about that?
Right.
Then basically this leads to the chase leads to Rockefeller Center.
Okay.
So at Rockefeller Center, and it's like I got some inspiration from the Christmas episode of Spectacular Spider-Man here and there. So I'm kind of, again, that's the best version of Spider-Man, so I kind of pulled here and there, but I made it my own. So Spider-Man, essentially, he tries to blind and kind of stick Electro to the ice because he's unbalanced, like he keeps slipping in the rubber suit. Unfortunately, it does not work. He's like, it seems to work. He's like disorienting Electro, getting him on the ice, but starting to slowly short.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I would think that ice would be like, like that's basically frozen water, so that wouldn't be good for electricity.
That's the thing. Like initially, he kind of forgot about that in the heat of battle. Then he's like, Spider-Man's trying to keep him there as he realizes, okay, kryptonite. Then he grabs Spider-Man's arm and he basically kind of electrifies the web shooter so it fuses shut, so it's like it's there, but it can't shoot any web. And then he blasts Spider-Man directly like on the symbol on the chest, and what he does is he unfortunately he shorts out the suit, so now no Karen, nothing, no music, and he's man, you really are the I hate Christmas music, darn it. Anyway, he's dodging a few blasts. Spider-Man again. He's no web shooters. He leaps to no web shooters, no assistance. He leaps to the tree, and he's kind of sticking to the tree. Now the fight's on the giant Rockefeller Center tree.
Oh God.
He's kind of he's going around dodging some things. Initially, he
I
thinks,
have
"Hey,
a
I have the
Rockefeller
advantage."
Center tree scene as well, but that's in my Act 3. So
That's cool. Yeah, going to like new locations with Spider-Man is kind of
right.
And, he's going around the tree, can avoid blast, and he thinks, okay, I have the advantage. Electro can't go on the ice. That means I'm safe. And then Electro gets an idea. Basically, he propels himself like an electrical field, kind of like Magneto. So now he can levitate a little bit. Oh man, there is no Santa Claus.
I gotta say, I'm loving your Spidey quips.
And that line comes back. Oh man, there is no Santa Claus, is there? So then basically, it looks like Spider. He's like grabbing bulbs from the trees, like he's tossing them at Electro, kind of like a makeshift weapon, like tossing them, like breaking them on his head here and there. Then he's like, oh man, how am I gonna get out of this? Because he's gonna have a goner. But then he gets an idea. He sees the Christmas lights and he sees a hydrant behind Electro, so he gets an idea. He basically he grabs some like strings of Christmas lights. He's using them as webs in a way. He throws one. He realizes, okay, if I throw these Christmas lights in his electrical field, they're basically blow up like little flash bang bombs in his face, like bang bang, kind of distracting him. So he then uses like another one to kind of swing his way across the ice, so he's on the other side of it where the hydrant is. And again, they also blow up in his face and they distract Electro. He gets there, Spider with his spider strength, and he rips off the end of the hydrant as Electro is there, and he gets shorted out himself. One short out for another.
Mm-hmm.
Shorts at Electro. Electro's a little dazed. Spider-Man then throws a snowball at his face, knocking him out.
Nice.
Knockout. Let's see. So then after that action sequence, he ties Electro up in tinsel. The cops are on the way, but unfortunately, Spider-Man then realizes he has no Karen. All his stuff is gone, and again, no web shooters, and it's really cold out because now it's this little heater again taking away. The Parker luck is all throughout this thing. So oh boy, now he's stuck in the cold. He has to borrow a phone. He has to kind of borrow a jacket as he waits for Happy Hogan to arrive because he has to get the suit fixed. He has to go to Tony Stark to get the suit fixed. We then cut from like a limo arrives. We cut to the middle of the drive where like Deck the Halls is playing on the radio. And there's this little bit where you see him and Spider-Man head to toe in the mask.
Let me ask you this: is Happy Hogan a Christmas music fan, or is he like begrudgingly listening to Christmas music?
I think it's just either or. It's like, yeah, it was just on the radio. It was just, I think he just has the radio on.
Okay, so he's not like into it.
No, he's not. He's not a Scrooge, but he's like, it's okay. He's very casual about it.
Fair enough. Okay.
So, anyways, then it's just this gag of it's this timing gag. Like Spider-Man's so embarrassed, he's not. There's like it's silence between the two of them while Deck the Halls is playing, but then they reach stop. Like he says, "Hey, do you mind?" And basically, because Spider-Man's head to toe kind of motions with them without saying the full thing. Hey, do you mind? Like kind of motioning with his hand, like remove the mask. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. He takes the mask because it's gonna be look like he's Spider-Man's chauffeur.
Right.
Like he's tired, like driving super people. Again, all the super people he knows, like don't wear a mask around him. It's like kind of weird. It's like it's kind of a realistic thing.
Well, also, because Spider-Man's a kid, so he doesn't really get the social grace of that yet.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, what is this, Halloween? Take the mask.
Right. Exactly. Whereas, like, that's kind of a funny play on like Marvel Comics, right? Where Marvel Comics, you just see these people talking to each other in masks like all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway.
So let's see. Making some small talk, like, "Hey, Happy, how's your holiday going?" Happy's just saying, it's kind of like older brother, little brother. It's kind of what we set up with the homecoming thing with Spider-Man and then Happy Hogan. It's kind of like, oh yeah, it's good. You got a sweet Christmas bonus. But then Happy says, well, there's this one thing. Basically, Happy's kind of opening up all his Spider-Man.
Oh no! Oh god!
I think there's problem here is that again he's making it small because we know he trusts Spider-Man a lot more at the end of Homecoming than he did before. He likes the kid more, so he's opening up to him and he's saying, "Well, it would be nice getting an Iron Man suit." mean, everyone else got a suit. Tony got a
Yes.
suit.
Yes. Oh my
And
God.
Tony
I
got a
love
suit.
it.
Rhodey got a suit. Pepper got to wear a suit.
Yeah,
Again, referencing Iron Man 3 and all
Oh.
that. Just, again, because that took place around Christmas.
Oh, I could totally see Favreau delivery that Pepper got to
Yeah, I got
wear a suit.
Yep. Got a couple Iron Man 3 references because it was around Christmas time.
Of course.
And
Of course.
Peter, Peter's like telling him, hey, man, it's not that he doesn't trust you with a suit. It's just he's protecting you, Happy. You shouldn't have to ever wear a suit. Take my word for it. That's, Happy says, well, that was my job, to protecting him. And of course, I'm seeding in some Aunt May setup here, like it's about protecting the people you love.
Okay.
So it's like, well, that was my job. Anyway, Happy realizes, oh, thanks anyway, kid. I know you're trying. It's not gonna. Yeah, it's kind of like a nice little back and forth between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
We cut to the next scene. So now we're at the upstate facility. The Avengers. Poor Tony's kind of bunky now because he sold Avengers Tower and his house got destroyed in Iron Man 3, so he doesn't really have any this place aside from the upstate facility. Let's see. Just trying to make sure you get it here. Yes, Marshmallow World is playing because it's like Tony Stark. Yeah, he's living in a marshmallow world constantly. He's just kind of playing that while he's working. The dummy has the dummy has something like Christmas lights on the dummy.
Nice.
Little robot thing. Hey, so basically, we have this it's a nice little casual scene here of Tony and Peter. Basically, while Peter's fixing his web shooters, Tony's fixing the suit. From the electric, booting it up again, adding some so it doesn't get electrocuted again.
Mm-hmm.
Peter's impressed. Again, very casually, Peter's impressed that Tony has the components he needs for the web shooter. Says, "Welcome to the North Pole, kid." Tony's like, "Oh, it's good to see you. It's good to see you in person around the holiday. I mean, I was just going to call in, send you something, but it's nice to see you again, kid."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry about the glitch. I didn't expect you to go up against the real heavy hitters this fast. Again, hence the whole story of Homecoming at the training wheels. He didn't expect to have to electric-proof the suit. Let's see. So he apologized for the little glitch with that. Says, okay, that ought to do it. So now it can't get overloaded again like it did before. And then he says, oh, speaking of which, the danger. Speaking of getting electrocuted, moving too fast. Take it easy out there. Your aunt keeps calling Happy and me. She keeps yelling at us.
God. Okay. That's great. So basically, May is treating Tony Stark and Happy Hogan like Peter's babysitters.
Yes, and she's really mad at. She's especially mad at Tony because again, remember she had that scene with Tony in Civil War. Now she's really mad at him because after the end of Homecoming, it's like, you did what? You built him a suit. What's wrong with you?
That's great.
You stupid billionaire drunk idiot.
Oh, I'm loving it.
No wonder Captain America kicked the crap out of you. Anyway, she keeps calling and checking on, being very overprotective and all that stuff. And mostly, she calls you. What's she calling you about? Mostly yelling at me about this. He holds up the suit like a really annoyed man, like this. Let's see. Anything happens to you, I got to find Banner and hire him as my new bodyguard.
Oh man. Oh, that's a storyline I want to see.
I got to hire him as my new bodyguard in case I have to incur that woman's wrath if anything happens to you.
God.
Right. And then, of course, I'm really proud of this one where Peter's response, Iron Man has a great line. He says, do us both a favor. Next time you dramatically put the suit on, close the door.
Mm-hmm.
And Peter says, this coming from I am Iron Man. Tony's kind of like, what was that? Nothing. He doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to talk down the big boss.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. But seriously, she's getting. Peter then says, okay, but seriously though, she's getting used to Christmas without my uncle, and Tony amps it down and says, yeah, I know how Christmas can be without someone can be. Basically referencing the fact he lost his parents around Christmas time as well. So a lot of stuff a lot of bad stuff happens to Tony around Christmas time. Now I'm thinking about it.
Right.
Yeah, but it's kind of like acknowledging. Yeah, it's. I understand. Again, he's somewhat of a uncle. I have a few Uncle Ben figures in this special. Of course, Tony would be one of them. Just kind of a placeholder for Uncle Ben. Of course, cannot fill the real thing. So. The idea is he's giving some words of wisdom here. He's just telling him, well, look, just take it easy for all our sakes, okay? Tony's the fun uncle. That's the gay. He's the fun uncle. And we have kind of others with words of wisdom. Also, here, early Christmas present, new phone, because again he lost his phone, hence the reason they had to borrow one. So hey, new phone, Stark Tech, take care of it. Don't lose it this time. And have a happy, uh, have a happy one, Mr. Parker. Peter is about to leave. Oh, one more thing. You should let Happy try on a. You should probably let Happy try on a suit for Christmas. Did he say something new? Oh no. Again, Peter's just trying not to make Happy look bad. So, no, just he basically gives some sort of bad excuses. Merry Christmas, and he leaves.
Nice.
Okay, let's see. Okay, now we're checking in with May. So May is watching on you, and you're gonna like this. On YouTube, May is watching Spider-Man versus Electro because everyone has a camera. Everyone's
okay, right. And she's like, "Oh, this was what Peter was doing today. How wonderful!"
Yep, it's Spider-Man versus Electro on YouTube, and it's on the Daily Bugle's YouTube channel.
Oh God, of course it is. That's great.
Importantly, White Christmas is playing on TV.
Okay,
that's going to be important. Peter returns. She initially she loses it. She's very overprotective. I'm sorry. Like he's sorry. Let me forget what I just said there. So Peter returns and she closes the so he doesn't know she's been overprotective. That's what I'm getting at.
Mm-hmm.
Little video window thing. So the idea is things are tense. She has no idea. Each of them are really they don't really have any idea what they kind of say with this Spider-Man, the whole Spider-Man thing on the side. They're not quite sure how to approach going forward here. It's been kind of tense for the last couple of months. They've been doing day-to-day stuff. They haven't really kind of found a way to address hey, you're Spider-Man.
Right. Okay, gotcha.
She's asking what took Peter, and I want the truth. And Peter's saying, he's telling her the truth now because he has no other options. I had to get the suit fixed after you were bad with Electro. Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of like, did you skip doing your homework? Yeah.
Yep. And
did
basically
you stay out late last night? Yeah.
and what I have here is he's trying to before she goes for the phone to call Tony Stark. Before you lay in the Mr. Stark, Peter owns up to it. Says, it was my fault. I was a little careless during the fight. And again, May just doesn't know how to handle this kid anymore. She thought she did. Now she doesn't. And she's kind of airing this out to Peter. Again, they're kind of broaching on the issue here. It's like, look, Peter, it's Christmas, and that's tough enough. You're now worrying about you, and your uncle was the one who really MVP'd the holiday. Now it's just me.
Mm.
We see a few photos of Uncle Ben, and we'll get a very, very quick scene of Uncle Ben later on. But for Uncle Ben, I have two actors in mind. Three if I need it, but two main actors. So a lot of people threw John Cusack, which I said, I could buy John Cusack as Uncle Ben. For a younger Uncle Ben, I could buy it.
Right.
And the one I'm going with, and the one I'm really thrilled about, Hank Azaria.
Oh, I like Hank Azaria. Oh, that's a good one.
Because the idea is with both of these actors, I want a real real New Yorker with it. I want Uncle Ben who's a little younger, kind of the
mercy. I was going with Alfred Molina as well.
Yeah. The idea, these two guys, really grindstone New Yorkers, and I get that vibe a lot from Hank Azaria, and I've really liked him and Ray Donovan, so I gave him a shot.
Okay.
So the idea is we see a few pictures here and there. And those pictures be Peter and Ben at the Stark Expo when he bought him the helmet when he was a kid.
Oh.
He bought him the Iron Man helmet from that scene in Iron Man 2. So, we see the three of them at the Christmas tree. The trio of Aunt, Uncle, and Peter at Christmas time, and just one of her and Uncle Ben together. So a few photos here and there. They kind of reflect from hey, remember that Peter's just showing that he's receiving what Aunt May's kind of laying out there, saying, "Remember that Nintendo he got me that one Christmas."
Nice.
Oh yeah, he hauled. He haggled for that you wouldn't believe. And the idea is a real New Yorker, he's got he was in a certain part of town. He found hey, he got it for a good price. Uncle Ben was he was a real stickler for that.
Right.
So let's see. So and importantly, May, while she wasn't really big, again, Uncle Ben was the real jolly guy around Christmas time. She wrapped everything. He couldn't wrap anything to save his life. Peter holds May and just she's kind of almost cries into his shoulder here, saying, "I miss him so much." Me too. Okay, let's see. Peter's in his room. He's looking at like a small desk photo of, or a screensaver of he and Uncle Ben together, and at the expo or like at the, or at science camp or something that Peter and Ben did together. Uh, he gets an idea and he calls Ned for a mission, and Ned's all excited. A mission, really? Yeah. Let's see. Oh yeah, crap! I gotta mention this. The significance of White Christmas and how it's going to come back. Uncle Ben loved White Christmas. That was his favorite.
Okay.
That was his favorite Christmas movie. That's going to come back.
Well, the man has good taste.
And he loves the song White Christmas. Those two details are important. Okay, we go from the snow outside to the whites of prison uniforms where we left Scorpion and Vulture and then the whole lot. That's the same prison we were at the ending of Homecoming.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, Mandow's laying in this awesome monologue about how he had plans for New York. He was working his way up the ladder. My vision of what Scorpion could be is that, going with the namesake, is that he's a guy who has like a lot of connections and he wants power. And the minute he gets close to like one of the big bosses, he would strike like a Scorpion. He would then take over that guy. He wants.
I like that. And
the ultimate take on Scorpion, again, ultimate, but he would look like the classic version, is that he wants to be the next Kingpin. So that's my idea. I'm running with Scorpion. This is a guy who had vision to be the next Kingpin. The guy's a smart guy.
Okay.
So let's see. He wants to make his. He's basically saying, he's monologuing to someone we're not seeing quite yet. He says, "I had plans for New York. I was going to work my way up. This one weapons deal that Spider-Man got in the way of in Homecoming. That one weapons deal would have given me the power to make my mark and scare the competition." I mean, Fisk left a vacuum. He left the vacuum. He's starting to reference the Netflix stuff again. I'm trying to bridge the gap, folks. I'm trying to bridge the gap. Darn it. Fisk left
special on Netflix, so that's kind of a good help right there.
Yeah. So Fisk left a vacuum on the streets. A lot of small timers trying to fill that void because again, Fisk is in prison right now. That's where and we set that up in the special just in case anyone hasn't seen the Netflix shows. I know you guys have. I'm talking like just for the general public. This is playing for.
Mm-hmm.
Full of small timers in perspective. Basically, the people that Fisk didn't kill, and it's kind of the people are now trying to kind of move in on Hell's Kitchen, some of the other territories in New York. I could have been the next Kingpin, but that wall crawler, he ruined my shot at it. Like you did with yours. He ruined your big score. He's talking to this one guy. He ruined your big score. Will you help me get revenge on him, Flint?
Okay.
Been revealed. This is the ending of Act 1. He reveals.
Right.
It reveals it's the Sandman. It's the Sandman. It's Flint Marko. I'll explain.
It's Thomas Hayden Church. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but speaking of that, I'm just going to describe my take on Sandman. The ending is the reveal of Flint Marko. But
That's good. That's good, Dragon. That's a good hook.
So he isn't Sandman yet. This is like the idea from Spectacular Spider-Man. I really love the idea that Spider-Man ran into the average bank robber Flint Marko a few times, and he busted him a few times. So here, what I did with him to make Sandman a little different from that, but I kind of kept to that idea, is that this is a guy who is like the top bank robber. He's a very smart. He's like as smart as Ant-Man is in terms of a heist. He's the top bank robber. He's very heist smart. He's very slippery. His big. He's like they don't call him this. I'm saying my idea for this. He's like sand slipping through your fingers. You can't catch this guy.
Oh, that's nice. He's
slippery, and he's famous for being slippery. His
I like how you have really good justifications for the names, like the Scorpion and Sandman. Good job on that.
Yeah. It's like, the guy's an escape artist, and he's well known for improvising in the field, so he would get away. And basically, he had a running streak of that. So, I mean, he had a running streak of that. Like, he never has not completed a job. Like, he's always gotten away with it. Even if they catch the loot, he gets away with it. Mm-hmm. But that streak came to an end when Spider-Man pinched him.
Oh, okay.
And, that's in terms of casting, let's see. I had it's a stretch to see if we can get him, but Woody Harrelson was one of my go-tos.
I could see that.
Woody Harrelson and Woody again. These are big. Woody Harrelson or John Hamm. Those are my ideas. Again, a lot of Baby Driver for the John Hamm thing of like the clever bank robber, but
right. Okay.
Well, that's the ending of Act 1. Keep going.
All right. So Act 2, Bonesaw is ready to have a fun cameo. Now, Dragon, of course, Bonesaw was played by the late great Macho Man Randy Savage. May he rest in peace. So I'm going a little bit younger with this Bonesaw Dragon. All right. Now, I just want to play role play with you for a little bit. Now, imagine that you're Kevin Feige, and you're browsing on the internet, and you're looking for up and coming talent. Like you're looking for someone. Because of course the idea, like, we don't want to emulate Macho Man Randy Savage. We just want someone in there to play the character, ideally a younger version of the character. And we don't know, we don't want a known actor. So they're browsing. They come upon something called Super Academy.
Oh, jeez.
And they're just very, very taken by this Slothmaster character. And they're like, hey, gee, this Scott Reefer is a very talented individual, and he's got the posture that we'd be looking for, and he's also got kind of the composure that we're looking for with this Bonesaw. Now, Dragon, here's the idea with the Bonesaw. Okay? So basically, Bonesaw in this version he's a young entrepreneur wrestler who owns a wrestling ring. And, of course, in the ring, he's got the whole, like, Bonesaw is ready. Like, he's got that whole shtick. But outside the ring, he's freaking Scott Reefer. So, he's just, like, very laid back and chill, kind of like a Steve Jobs, like, hipster businessman kind of, Like, oh, hey, guys, thanks for stopping by. Oh, Peter Parker. Let's see. The Human Spider. Oh, yeah, I do remember you. All right. Hey, funny that right after you came by, that Spider-Man made his appearance. Ha, 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 ha. So basically, like I said, I'm getting Scott Reefer in here just because I think Scott Reefer would do a really fun job of playing essentially what is a wrestler.
I'm surprised you didn't go Duck Washington.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Let's have Duck Washington in a cameo, okay? So, how about we'll pull a couple more Super Academy guys, all right?
Okay.
So because I actually do have this written in, but I didn't cast them. But since you mentioned it, and this sounds like something out of Super Academy too. So basically, while Peter is talking to Bonesaw, trying to get the pictures, like basically just wondering, like, look, I know it's been like a year, but I was just wondering if you had any old pictures in the Lost and Found. And in the background, there's a Santa versus Frosty themed wrestling match. So, Dragon, let's go ahead and make Alex Jeffries Santa, and let's go ahead and make Duck Washington Frosty.
I'm down for Jeffrey Santa, man.
Oh, I know you are. So that's happening in the background. And like I said, like, I know it's a stretch, like, just the hypothetical, like, Kevin Feige happened to stumble onto Super Academy and then loves Slothmaster. I mean, it's not that much of a stretch. But I don't know, man.
Right, it's not that much of a stretch. Sure, yeah. Okay.
All right. But I just do, like, honestly, in terms of casting someone as Bonesaw, it was a challenge because, I didn't want to just have a Macho Man Randy Savage clone. I didn't want to have a known actor. And honestly, in thinking about what Scott can do as a performer, I think that he's got a real talent for taking these sorts of absurdist characters that have two sides to them. So, Slothmaster is a superhero, but he's also like super laid back. Oh, hi, guys. I'm going to fight some crime. And so basically the idea of this Bonesaw is that, like he'll be announcing the match, like, are you ready? Is Bonesaw ready to see Santa versus Frosty? And then, and then we'd switch to like typical like Scott Reefer, like, oh, hello, Mr. Parker. I don't know. I could totally see Scott Reefer like pulling that off really well. Like I could totally see him having fun timing on that. So there you go. Okay. Basically what we get out of this is that the Vietnam photos were donated to a local art project.
Okay.
And so that's the clue that Peter gets. So then we get another day at school, and Peter's searching. He's Googling for Vietnam-themed art projects around the city, kind of looking for different places that these photographs might surface for. Ned presents Michelle with the Lego Star Destroyer. And then Michelle, she's like, oh, thanks, Ned. You know, she's trying to be sweet about it, but she's like, I really don't care about
Here's
this.
a commitment.
Right. And then I think you're gonna like this. She does a really girly like, and what did you get me, Peter? You know, kind of like you know, like flushes her eyelids, just, and then she's like, totes kidding, don't care.
That's funny. Okay, that's inconsistent with that girl. I like that's Zendaya, all right. I like that with that girl.
Mm-hmm. And also in class, we take note that the stub where Connor's missing arm has a large bandage on it. There's a very conspicuous bandage over the arm.
I see.
Yes. Okay. So let's see. So Peter is realizing, looking around the mall, he realizes that he probably is not going to have enough time to buy Michelle that jacket, because the whole idea is like he wants to get it for Michelle. I should have mentioned this up front, Dragon, but kind of one of the big selling points for me with this special was kind of the, it's basically like the week leading up to a Christmas vacation in high school. So it's still very much centered on high school. It's just centered around a very specific kind of high school experience.
For me, like with 13 Reasons thing, mine is also on the Christmas. Mine's the week of Christmas. Mine's during the break. Mine is on.
Yeah. Right. So essentially, what I have here is, let me see. So essentially, the issue is he doesn't have until December 25th to buy Michelle this present, right? He has like a few days, and then they all go off, you know, to spend time with their families over Christmas. So that's the idea. Like, they're school buddies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Okay. So then, Dragon, I blame you for this. All right. I just want to say right off the bat, I blame you for this.
Oh gosh.
He takes up counsel with a mall Santa that he sees taking a break, and that mall Santa is played by none other than an uncredited Tobey Maguire. See,
that's one I can get behind, because you don't even need to know that it's him. It's like you get it or you don't. That's what that's what I can appreciate.
And he's behind the beard the whole time and everything.
That's a classy way. That I can buy. I can buy that easily.
Right. And this is a very simple conversation, but Toby's just like, just get her something from the heart, kid. And Peter's frustrated. He's like, I know, that's what I've been saying, Santa. And this jacket is from the heart and it's too expensive. And then Toby's like, whoa, back up a little, kid. You know. So we get kind of like a fun back and forth. Okay, so a robbery breaks out, Dragon, and Peter goes for his suit. We have a good halfway point scene with Peter as Spider-Man kind of stopping the barrage of Santas as they have them, you know, like he's stopping. Basically, it's kind of like the Santa mask, right? Where we have like a bunch of criminals in Santa suits, like robbing the mall.
Yeah.
And so he's, you know, he's basically just swinging... just hanging all these Santas by the second story ledges of the mall. And so, you know, it's just a nice kind of fun action scene.
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh, okay. So Peter lost his backpack full of street clothes. So you're gonna love this, Dragon. You're gonna love this. He's forced to take the elevator up to a department clothing store. And of course, the classic Spider-Man being forced to take the elevator. And who else walks in but James Franco?
Oh God, is he actually James Franco? Or is he another character?
No, he's just a tourist. He's a random New York tourist, and he's an obvious tourist, right? Like he's, you know, like you can tell, like he's got like a camera around his neck and everything. But Dragon, the you know, the cherry on top of the pie.
Oh God.
Is that he's going to be wearing a 10th annual Queen's Pie Eating Contest t-shirt. And then, you know, he's just like, hey, cool suit. And then Peter's like, thanks. My aunt competed in that pie eating contest once.
Oh, that's funny. I like that.
Yeah, okay.
That's how you do the pie joke.
And then, of course, you have to have the line. You have to have Franco just looking like lustfully into the camera and just being like, Oh, the pie was so good.
It'd be kind of like one of those you wouldn't believe if someone told you about these New Yorker type guys. Like,
Right, exactly. That's the
I swear to God, he looked to an imaginary camera and he said,
Oh God. Okay, so we see Spidey with a list of Vietnam art projects. He's going throughout the city, and then he spots a huge mosaic. Now, of course, Dragon, a mosaic is a bunch of little photographs put together to form a bigger photograph. And this mosaic, of course, is just of it's basically a mosaic of the American flag as part of a Vietnam memorial. And sure enough, Uncle Ben's photos are hidden within the mosaic. And Peter is attempting to scrap the photos off the wall, but he is stopped by none other than Stan the Man Lee as a World War II vet.
nice. As a World War II vet, of course.
Yeah. He's like, now, son, I might not have served in the Vietnam War, but I served in WW2.
Is this the same guy from Age of Ultron?
Sure, if you want it to be.
Well, actually, we know they're all technically the same guy, but you know what I mean. It's
right.
I mean, come here. We had a World War II veteran in Age of Ultron. That was his cameo in that.
Yeah, sure, it could be. Yeah, let's make it the same guy.
Yeah,
Sure.
sure.
Okay. And basically he's like, son, I bet Captain America want to approve of you vandalizing that war monument. And then basically, of course, Peter shoots back. Isn't that guy a war criminal? And then we smash cut to a Captain America PSA. It's the next day. Of course, the coach is making them. So basically, Cap is, he's basically like, and remember, kids, be thankful for what you have, because the troops, we get rations for Christmas. And we're fighting for your Christmas presents.
Oh, God.
So it's basically like a lesson of like, if you don't think your Christmas presents are great, like the troops are out there, like they don't have a Christmas. So be thankful for what you got. That's kind of the idea.
I'm jealous because again, mine's not at the school, so I don't have any Captain America.
Okay.
But, yours, okay. I'm jealous of that in yours.
All right. All right, let's see, Dragon. I've got a couple more beats until the close. Like I said, mine goes along at a rather quick pace. Okay, so basically, it's Ned and Michelle are kind of growing closer together, and Peter is sort of becoming that awkward third wheel, and Peter's sort of becoming a little bit down on that. He also remembers that he forgot to turn his homework into Connor, so he rushes back to Connor's classroom. And here, Connor's still watching home videos of his family around Christmas time. It's dark. We get the idea that after he lost his arm, he put himself into exile for them. Now he's desperate. So basically, he unwraps the bandages, Dragon, and he reveals a half-grown arm, like a mutated, deformed, half-grown human arm. And he gets out a serum, and he gets out like a needle, and he's like, "Don't worry, Billy." And Dragon, I gotta say, this line's cheesy, but I'm kind of proud of it. "Don't worry, Billy." And then he injects himself with the serum. "I will be home for Christmas." Okay, so Peter watches this as Connors is like starting to transform. Like basically what's happening is that the small arm is growing over with the lizard arm. And then the lizard arm is kind of acting as like a rapidly spreading tumor across the rest of his body, like kind of like, like swallowing it, like the lizard skin. And yet somehow he still keeps his lab coat on because we need to have that lab coat as a visual cue, God damn it. All right. So just
it's just ripped and tattered. It's still there.
Yeah, exactly. Like we need to have it on. And so basically the lizard sees Parker and he speaks, Dragon. In this version, we have the lizard is actually very intelligent. And he's like, "Parker, you really need to stop sneaking into my class after hours." And then that's the cut.
Okay.
End of Act 2. Like I said, Dragon, mine goes along at a pretty brisk pace, so.
All right. Okay, Act 2 for me. Okay, so we pick up in the prison, so we continue the conversation. Marco's asking for clarification, and we get a little bit of exposition with character here. Is that we get some we're exposing some details, so we kind of know how the Sandman operates. This pre-Sandman, before he gets the powers. Let's see. Scorpion wants Gargan wants him to kill Spider-Man publicly. That's what he wants, because he wants him to be humiliated and killed. That's the thing. Because basically everyone has a camera now, so if he fights Spider-Man, it will be done publicly.
Mm-hmm.
He makes it clear. Look, I'm a bank robber. I'm not a hitman. You might want to go to someone else for this.
Right.
Let's see. So then well, yes, but I need your expertise and your improvisation. That's the only way you get this guy. With a heads up. And basically, let's see. Marco's come back at him with, "Look, if you give me a heads up, I could probably escape the prison." Well, I'm sorry. Gargan is saying, "Hey, with a heads up, you probably could escape the prison or even break me out." But we don't have time for that, because we don't have. Basically, I don't have time for that, and you, thanks to me, gotcha. And there's a little bit of a Better Call Saul reference here. Thanks to me, I got you that lawyer that got you tried separate from your cronies.
Right, nice.
So basically, the reason he's going to Sandman here, not asking for a breakout or anything, is because Sandman's getting released today, and he's indebted to the Scorpion for that. So again, he owes him a favor because of that. So that's why he's going to the Sandman of all people. All right, and I mean, in an hour you're walking out of here. You owe me. Yeah. So look, pulling I don't care. Look, here's what you do. I'll give you a few of my guys. A few of his kind of low-level cartel guys. Give you a few of my guys. You get your guy O'Hearn. You're going to love who O'Hearn is. Gonna get your guy O'Hearn. I don't care who pulls the trigger. But you gotta remember, even if you do, it's for the greater good. One kill, and New York is ours. It's ours for the taking. There's no heroes left to take us out here. The Avengers are busy and taking out the high-level stuff. And remember when the Netflix shows right now, all around Christmas, all the other characters Iron Fist may not. Iron Fist is in Kunlun. Daredevil is one detail I have confirmed for Defenders. That Iron Man the one detail I have confirmed for Defenders is that Daredevil is kind of the semi-retired right now. Jessica Jones, it's more PI than hero. And Luke Cage, of course, is in prison, so there's no one on the streets right now. No one on the streets, only the Avengers and the high-level stuff.
Right.
Aside from Spider-Man, so that's the logic. We take out Spider-Man, New York's ours. Makes sense. Basically with some muscle, some intellect, some planning, some intellect, we could own this place. We could own this city. We have a deal. They shake on it. What do you need? I'm going to need guns, smoke bombs, mask, a few guys, which of course we're going to get those. Any technology? We have what technology we got? Do we have anything special on this? It says, well, let's ask Toombs. You go to Toombs. So we have our Keaton. We have 2 bits of Keaton in this.
Okay.
Go to Toombs. Let's see. There's a fun gag I put in here. So we see Toombs is watching on the prison television. Well, they're all kind of forced stuck watching. He's watching Jack Frost, which he's in. A little, it's Keaton as a snowman, but he's watching. He's just kind of watching Jack Frost. They ask him about Mason. Of course, Phineas Mason, the tinkerer who builds all the technology in kind of the MCU for the Spider-Man films that we've established, which I think is really cool. And I always like having some reference here. They're asking about Mason. Hey, Toombs, I know you don't know who Spider-Man is, but do you have any way of contacting Mason? We use him for a job. And what he's doing here is Vulture is kind of lying with the truth here, as he's saying, Mason's a smart guy. He's probably keeping his head down. There's no way to find him, even by me. I can't find him if I wanted to. And again, the idea is he's protecting Peter with that, but at the same time, you kind of buy it. That Mason would be hard to find. He is a smart guy keeping his nose clean. All right, so then the Scorpion said, well, O'Hearn's going to need his famed suit. And the idea is O'Hearn's a guy that is a friend of the Sandman's who's famous for wearing a specific suit in the bank jobs. These 2 guys that work together, and he has a suit that makes him quite formidable for all these famous bank jobs they've pulled. You're going to see what that is. Toombs, you got a visitor. Guards call him Toombs. And Toombs leaves, and we have this really sweet little brief scene, like kind of the punctuation of the scene, where the Vulture is visited and surprised by Liz and her mom. We get to see Toombs as like a loving father. He's rewarded for protecting Spider-Man. That's kind of the idea is like they trekked all from where they moved to kind of visit him in New York, just because they love they still love him to pieces. And I'm so surprised you guys are here for me. You could have just called. Well, no, it wouldn't be Christmas without you. And then Keaton sheds a single tear. And I love you guys. Yeah. Let's see. So it's like a little bit there, and again, kind of like that Uncle Ben figure we had somewhat in Homecoming with the Vulture. So again, a guy looking out for Peter, but at the same time, he has family, wants to see around the holidays. They haven't forgotten him. Again, kind of ushering in like a theme here with that. So,
gotcha.
Scorpion kind of says to Scorpion kind of punctuates the burden by saying, "Spider-Man dies before Christmas."
Ooh.
Cut to the mall. It's the mall. If I have to pick a specific place, I'm guessing Macy's. I wanted to say Gimbel's, but Gimbel's isn't around anymore. Let's just say it's Macy's, just a mall type area, big old department store mall area, fancy mall. And again, different location for Spider-Man here. It's the week of Christmas. There are a few days before Christmas. So it gets like Spider-Man dies before Christmas. We cut to the mall saying, "Just a few more days till Christmas, shoppers." Yeah, the announcement of Christmas is again. The clock is ticking. We reveal that Ned and Peter are at Macy's. Peter, I thought you said you had a mission. This is just Christmas shopping. Actually, let me redact that. Actually, what I had is he reveals that Ned and Peter are at Macy's. Ned is taking this very seriously as a mission. He's taking this very seriously as a mission. Because again, guy at the chair now in the field, so this is a big step for him. It's revealed that they're looking for a gift. We think they're gearing up for a mission where Peter reveals, no, we're doing Christmas shopping to help Aunt May, but also we're looking for a gift for it at the same time. We're helping alleviate the stress of the holidays for Aunt May, which is nice. Okay, let's see. So basically, they're doing some Christmas errands. They're getting some Christmas errands done for a while, while Peter looks for a gift. Ned's checking the list twice. Gag there. He's checking the list. He checks it a second time, and basically what they're getting is some holiday food, some decorations, and fruitcake.
Nice.
Fruitcake, lights, and a gift. That's essentially what they're. They have. I'm sorry. They have the food. They have the decorations. All they need now is fruitcake, lights, and a gift. Okay, let's see. So we have a montage.
We need a montage. A montage. A montage.
Yes, so the montage.
When you need to find scenes in this executive order, and you need to have it go real fast. You need a montage. I'm sorry, go ahead.
We have a montage with the Nutcracker Suite. The amped up version of Nutcracker Suite we got from Jingle All the Way. It's kind of an over the top comedic scene. So we have that playing as the two of them split up and they're kind of doing their stuff. Peter's using his agility to avoid getting trampled. All the people are going to rush around the holidays. We have a few sold out items again for the gift for Aunt May. It's he's looking at clothing outlets and antiques. Darn it, it's all sold out, or someone's getting the last one. But then he's in front of, let's say, a Radio Shack or an appliance place. A place he's going to make something at the end here. So the point is he's in front of a store, like a Radio Shack or something. He gets an idea and he enters, and then we cut back to the outside here where we're in a van. We're in a van, so they need a vehicle too. So for the job here, they're about to pull the kill Spider-Man job.
Mm-hmm.
So we're in a van. We meet O'Hearn, Alex O'Hearn. Who is, and I borrowed this from Spectacular Spider-Man because I loved it. I love the idea that Flint Marko and Alex O'Hearn were buddies, and they worked together a lot. Spider-Man busted them a lot. So the idea here is that O'Hearn, and just so everyone knows, O'Hearn is the Rhino.
Okay.
So here's the gig. So
I love you cast Paul Giamatti. I mean, come on, who else would you cast?
No, I would say I'm kind of a bind with O'Hearn because I only had two names, but again, whether we'd be able to get him or not, I don't know. I have Vinnie Jones because I love Vinnie Jones.
Oh, I love Vinnie Jones. He'd make a great Rhino.
So Vinnie Jones, and if not Vinnie Jones, then possibly I'm trying to think who I got. I'll come to it later. I'll remind you. But let's just say Vinnie Jones. I have another I know who my guy, my perfect guy would be if I could get him. Because he's working with DC right now on TV. He's Dominic Purcell, Link from Prison Break, who is he's a Heat Wave on the Flash, remember? And now he's on Legends of War. That's my guy if I had to pick anyone for the Rhino. But him or Vinnie Jones, this would be my two go-to guys. All right. So O'Hearn, here's the story with O'Hearn. Here's like the famed suit. Basically, he pulls out a suit here, and we have like our extra cartel guys. We have about 4 cartel guys with basically just gun-toting men wearing masks. That's all they are. They're asking like, what's the deal here? They pull out the famed bulletproof suit that Sandman and Rhino kind of came up with together. And the idea is they were inspired by the dash cam footage, and they exposit this somehow. They say they were inspired by the dash cam footage of Luke Cage getting shot by the cops, and he's throwing him across the way.
Mm-hmm.
So he was inspired by that footage. Basically, what they did is they melted Kevlar vests they stole from cops down together, and they sewed some weights into like some armbands. So basically, he could charge and like kind of have the strength of a Rhino.
Nice.
Again, like he's not called Rhino. It's the idea he would charge like a Rhino, and that's I have like a little reference, like it's a reference to what his future could be. He's like a proto Rhino right now, so I'm kind of like an intermediary stuff. So we're setting the groundwork for a lot of this in the future if they want to like officially introduce the Rhino.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's like we had the Russian Rhino and the Amazing Spider-Man. This is the American Rhino. This is the New Yorker Rhino, which I like better, to be honest with you.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. So basically, he's putting on a suit. They're getting ready for the job. Essentially, Marco's giving them the task. The idea is they're going to stir up enough trouble in Macy's that they're going to lure Spider-Man there. And the idea is we're not going to kill anyone unnecessarily. We only need to kill Spider-Man. The idea is O'Hearn and I will steal from a few outlets. Again, a lot of alarms will be triggered, which will definitely put a signal out there. Then if he doesn't show up, then we're going to you guys open fire to the ceiling, act like we're going to take some hostages. No casualties, but it'll be bound to draw Spider-Man. Then we'll have it the rest of the plan. So that's the plan. Just draw him out, and then they're saying, wait, so you're using us as bait? And then O'Hearn, again, sticking up for his buddy here. Big guy, like a Vinnie Jones stature guy. Steps in front and says, you got a problem with that? Nope. And just they're terrified. Okay, now back in the mall, we have a very brief scene with Peter. And again, they're at Macy's, and they're about to go in there where Spider-Man is right now. So again, it's kind of like it's a tense thing right now. It's like, oh god, and Spider-Man's there, so he's going to be walking right into their trap.
Oh god, okay.
So they bump into Michelle. Michelle's like at the food court or someplace, and then she's like kind of playing it nonchalantly, like, hey. Michelle, what are you doing here? You doing some Christmas shopping? No, I'm not going to do some like Christmas shopping. Look at these yuppies here, like going to all these stores and everything. Like a beat goes by and says, "Well, okay, I'm waiting for a few outlets to open because they've been sold out of stuff and they're about to get some new shipments in. But different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm boiling it down because I can't write for Michelle worth anything. But one thing I do have written down is that she draws her and says, "Well, so I'm drawing like all the kids." Drawing like the varieties of kids on Santa's lap over there, and we see like some of them are freaking out, some of them are like really happy-go-lucky. So she's like drawing like the misery of people again. With our mall Santa, and our mall Santa is Stan Lee.
Oh God! Okay, nice.
Yeah, but we see over there just like saying saying something along the lines of, "What would you like for Christmas, little girl?" It's like very like he's talking to the kids, and the kids are liking him, but they also have a few like wah. They're freaking out. So. Okay, let's see. All right. Okay. So, Peter's arm hairs then suddenly stand up, and again, like the spider sense is kind of going with kind of the non-conventional spider sense we got going on here. He notices men entering. Again, the masked gunmen. They're about to enter, and like they're about to stir up some trouble. He can sense this. He makes a quick excuse to leave and says, "Isn't that right, Ned?" And Ned's like a little slow in the uptake, and he tells Michelle, you should go with Michelle. You guys should basically you guys should probably get out of here for a while. Essentially, that's kind of what he's hinting at. Ned's a little slow in the uptake. Really? Oh yeah, Michelle. Let's get going here. Let's walk around a little bit. Okay, so now the alarms are going off. The gunfire is going. I'm going to try to speed past all this action. The alarm's going off. We have gunfire. We have hostages about to be taken. Spider-Man swings in. We have again brief thing with Stan Lee, the Mall Santa. He's like shielding children, homaging like his early cameos in the Raimi Spider-Man. He's like shielding children. And the point is, we have really good guys as Santa Claus here. Spider-Man takes out the gunmen again. Saving the people. A lot of saving going on there. Marco was in a green striped jacket, by the way, so I get like the Sandman look.
Oh yeah, right.
So again, like classic thing going on there.
And of course, holiday colors as well. Very festive.
Yes. Oh yeah. Karen shows Peter the new Spider Sense feature. I'm proud of this. So the idea is we have like a POV shot of Spider-Man now. So when he can. Basically, his spider sense would be like a red light with a spider sense sound effect that would go off like kind of Iron Man's, when we cut in the Iron Man's helmet.
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't see his face in the helmet, but we see like through the spider eyes what he's seeing. And it'd be like, okay, like red light, spider sense danger. It's kind of new, right?
Yeah, for sure. I like that.
Okay. So let's see. So again, we have a few red POV shots of the action going on there. He avoids the charging Rhino. Again, those like bustling towards him, like smashing a few kiosks. The police enter. They start firing at the Rhino, and again, I should mention, based on the Luke Cage thing, he has like the armor thing underneath, but he's wearing a gray hoodie. So again, no Rhino. Again, like Luke Cage, like it's the bulletproof hoodie that inspired the idea. So. Bulletproof hoodie armor. So, like, they shoot again, nothing's happening, and then he's the cover guy. Like, they would shoot at him while the other guys would get the advantage shooting at the cops. Spider-Man steers the charging, the charging Rhino away. He's steered away from the cops, so he isn't like going to charge at him.
Mm-hmm.
Marco's throwing a few flashbangs at distracting Spider-Man, disorienting him. Let's see the. Oh, yes, the song that's playing. Karen puts a song on. The song playing throughout the scene is It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Well, everything's going chaotic around them. Men are going for their guns. Spider-Man webs up the guns. We have he kind of Chinese finger traps two guys. So he basically attaches them to each other like a finger, like the old finger traps. You get your finger stuck into. Kind of like that, so they're kind of webbed together, like get away from me! It's like a tug of war almost. We have one guy pulling a knife, like a knife wielding guy is distracting Spider-Man. Well, they feel like Spider-Man's dodging with a spider sense, of course. He's distracted as the Rhino returns.
Oh God!
Throws Spider-Man through display, through the Santa display. He crashes right through the Santa display. He saves some people from some falling debris because he hit like a support beam. He's dodging bullets. Marco tries tasering Spider-Man thanks to Iron Man's upgrade. Does not work. He says, "Yeah, I'm not. That doesn't work on me anymore." He then taser webs Marco right in the face. Zaps the crap out of Marco. Rhino punches Spider-Man right into a store. He's he punches him into the fruitcake store. He punches him right into the fruitcake store, and then Spider-Man hits Rhino with a fruitcake right upside the head. Like a whole thing of fruitcakes fall on him, really heavy. He then tosses Spider-Man so far. He tosses him across the room into Flint Marco. So the two of them are go through they bolt through a couple doors into a construction area, an area of Macy's that's still under construction. There we get some Sandman references here. So he tosses him the construction part, the parts under construction. Marco hits him with a bag of cement and he's covered in dust and he can't see for a second. There again, kind of like the Sandman dust, the little the sand in his face. He attacks him with a sledgehammer. He's attacking Spider-Man with a sledgehammer. He kind of dodges a few times. Spider-Man he's thrown for a loop and he grabs it and he breaks the tip off. He then, in a bind, because again he can improvise on the job like this, Sandman grabs a sandblaster and he uses the schmaltz and stuff away when malls are under construction. They blast Spider-Man right in the face.
Ooh, God!
Sandblast them, and basically that's it. He notices the police are starting to fill the room, so now it's time to get out. So he's using that sandblast as a way of getting out, because again he's a slippery guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's using the radio or something to tell. Oh, Hearn, listen, we gotta get out of there. It's time to go. But the job, there's no time. There's too much heat. We gotta get out of here. And then of course, Hearn being his pal, you go. I got it. I'll take care of the job, because he knows how much this job means to the Sandman, because he's indebted to a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man timer webs the Rhino attacking, and basically a few little timer webs. Like the thing where he webs them and big web bomb. So basically, he sticks the rhino. So now he's stuck, and he crawls on him a few times. I'm sorry. He hits him with this. He crawls on him. Basically, he hits him with a few more, and then basically he is adhered to a kiosk full of plush stuffed animals, and on top of his head, all knocked out, is a stuffed rhinoceros.
God, nice.
Spider-Man tries chasing Marco down. Marco, again, he has like parkour on his sides. Again, the guy's really slippery. He's using parkour, like jumping over things. He's hitting some fire alarms, and basically the water is creating cover. So the water is coming down from the sprinklers. Mm-hmm. Again, kind of hard to see him now as he's getting further and further away. Marco escaped. Spider-Man's like, he lost him, and he's seeing O'Hearn being led away. Marco's peeved, like, oh man, now my buddy is gone. It's all my fault. Marco gets a call from this is the end of
okay.
Marco gets a call from Gargan with a coded conversation, because the calls at the jail are being monitored. Of course, the calls in the prison are being monitored. Here's what he's coded. He's given him a coded message. We're going to find out in Act 3. Our pest problem is not solved.
Well, I mean, that's not too hard to figure out.
I'm still going with it. I'm saying that's it. Marco says that to him, basically saying, "Hey, Spider-Man isn't dead. You still owe me one for last time. You still owe me for last time." He gives him new instructions with this code message. Here's the new instructions. So again, it's not about publicly humiliating Spider-Man. It's about just killing him now. Instruction is: go to the kitchen, get the turkey in the drawer with the Then in the drawer with the silverware, there's a number for an exterminator. Don't let me down. Hangs up Marco. Marco exhales, and I forgot one last thing. This is important. This is like the last scene in this section. It's a Peter and Aunt May. It's the last thing. And this is like the big. So again, the point is, Sandman has to find a hitman.
I think I know where this is going, and I'm jealous.
Okay, let's see. Okay, so Peter returns to an upset Aunt May, showing him footage from the mall fight, which is really dangerous. Getting a lot of guns blazing and everything. There was a lot of chaos at that mall fight. At Macy's.
Mm-hmm.
They were basically, even Aunt May realized they were baiting you. You realize how dangerous that is? Peter standing his ground here, saying, "Look, I had to do this. Again, like, people are in danger. I had to say, what'd you want me to do? I didn't raise you for this." Again, it's getting really heated between two of them. I didn't raise you for this sort of thing. If they're coming again, Peter's trying to turn this to like an adventure. Look, if they're coming for me, that means I'm doing a good job, which means again, I'm actually being a hero. They're actually going for me here. So, what's your end goal? Death? Is that victory for you? Aunt May's kind of firing back at him here. They're both they're both kind of going to a head here, and then basically they look at, and it was like the two of them are like on either side, like looking really peeved at each other, and then there's a photo of Uncle Ben in the middle. They look to, and they're like, they kind of like Peter leaves the house, and he's just like, I've had this. I'm through. They're really mad at each other. It builds to an argument. That's the end of Act 2.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's jump right back into my act, Dragon. Of course, we start things off with an abrupt fight scene through the school with Spidey versus the Lizard, except the one big change here is that Spidey is not Spidey, Dragon, because he doesn't have the costume on hand. He is just Peter Parker. So basically, what this amounts to is kind of an elaborate chase scene where basically what Peter Parker is doing is he's using his spider senses to make it look like he's just being incredibly lucky to avoid the Lizard as he's being chased by him, which leads to kind of a comedic, like a comedic reaction from some people, like, "Oh my God, Parker! Oh wow! Oh my God, he's outrunning that Lizard thing." Like you see Parker kind of like jumping around and ducking and stuff like that, so basically it looks like he's really lucky, but we know he's using the spider sense. Okay, let me see. Sorry, let me scroll up a little bit. And of course, Lizard's in the traditional lab coat, obviously. Now, Peter's goal is he gets the Lizard out onto the football field because that's the place. That's a good kind of anonymous place where there's nothing going on there right now. There's nobody there. It's a wide open. It's a wide open space. He goes to the football field, but not before they have a run-in where the lizard goes into his classroom and there's a group of students that are hid out in the classroom, including Michelle and Ned. All right, Dragon, now this is important. We're going to set up some big backstory here. Now, Ned defends Michelle. Like, the lizard lunges after Michelle. Ned defends him, and the lizard swipes basically a beaker that's filled with acid onto Ned's face.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, so Ned is like, ah! You know, like, he's like, you know, an ambulance is called. Like, and of course, he's not the only person who's going to the hospital, you know, because the lizard, he's ripping through the school. So there's quite a few people in the hospital, including Ned, with this acid on his face. Okay. And so basically, Spider-Man, like I said, Peter gets the lizard to the football stadium. Then he goes to the locker to get his Spidey suit. And then he wings into the stadium, and Spider-Man and Lizard have a fight within the stadium. And it ends with the lizard being hung up between the two field goal posts on the football field.
All right.
And you'll notice this is kind of a reoccurring thing with me, is like hanging up the villains. Like, basically, it's like Spider-Man giving the police presents.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was, so really, Dragon, the big action set piece kind of comes at the beginning of Act 3, and the rest of Act 3 is kind of like an epilogue, sort of like aftermath stuff. So I know it's kind of an odd structure to have that set piece be you know, kind of soon into Act 3, but I think you'll like what I've come up with for the resolutions here. Okay, so Peter delivers another bunch of photos of Spidey to the Daily Bugle. It's photos of the Lizard versus Spidey fight from the football field. Betty exposits that J. Jonah Jameson is visiting his son, who is in the hospital. His space shuttle had to come in for an emergency landing. And then we cut to the hospital, Dragon, and we cut to JJ. And we see his son, the astronaut, with a traumatized look on his face. Like, he is just staring into dead air. He is just, you know, like, he's just got this hollow look on his face. He looks pale. JJ, the astronaut helmet, is sitting on a chair by JJ, and we see a black gooey substance go over the glass of the helmet. Yeah.
There we go.
So basically, the idea is that the symbiote kind of got into John Jameson, and it messed with his head.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's see. So Peter. So basically, Ned's in the hospital. He's in intensive care. Peter feels bad for Michelle. He doesn't want Michelle to just go home and worry about that all night. So he's like, hey, you know, my Aunt May and my great aunt, you know, they're having dinner, you know, so of course we had a Christmas dinner. You want to come over tonight, you know, just to take your mind off things? I'm sure they won't mind having you over. So they do, and they have a nice Christmas dinner. What can I say? And then Peter takes them to see Ben's photos on the memorial. And Peter kind of tells a white lie to May about, you know, like, yeah, you know, Uncle Ben gave me these photos to restore them for him, but I thought of a better cause. I think it's great that he's a part of a bigger whole here. And Aunt May, she's kind of taking it in. She's kind of looking at the photos of Ben, and then looking at Peter. Of course, there's been a bunch of tension with Spider-Man and everything, but May, you know, she eventually kind of realizes, she gives Peter a big hug, and then she whispers in his ear, she's like, whatever you need to do as Spider-Man, I have a feeling that Ben would be proud of you for taking responsibility with your gifts. So kind of like a nice sort of like, you know, way to say with great power comes great responsibility without actually saying it. So essentially the idea is Ben is the kind of person where he would put others before himself every time when it came to the war and when it came to serving with his brothers in arms. And that's the same sort of mindset that she sees Peter taking, and she can't help but be proud of him for that, because that's modeling his life after the man that she loved, you know? So it's, so basically we get kind of a nice sort of like, it's still a little bit uneasy, but you know, anyways, so, sorry. So basically, May has to drop off the great aunt at the airport, and so Peter offers to take Michelle to Rockefeller Center, and Michelle says he wants to check in on Ned soon, and she doesn't skate, but she'll go check it out. She's always wanted to see the tree in person. She's like, she kind of makes a jab, like, isn't it funny how you can live in New York your whole life and never have seen the Rockefeller tree in person? And Peter's like, it took me until I was 17 years old to go to the Statue of Liberty. So, that's kind of the joke I hear New Yorkers say about, like, oh, you've been in this city your whole life and you've never even seen the Empire State Building, Anyway.
I'll have to change the age on that line because Peter's 16.
Oh.
Well,
Okay.
actually, no. I'm sorry. He could have. There's a chance he could have turned 17 between Homecoming and this.
Okay, let's change the line. He's like, well, I didn't even go to see the Statue of Liberty until I was 12. Let's change the line. There we go. Okay, and here is kind of our big reveal, Dragon. Of course, the whole time Peter's been trying to think of what present to give Michelle, and he takes Michelle and he swings her up to the top of the tree.
Whoa.
And of course, Michelle's just like, what, Peter, what? And Peter's like, yeah, I'm Spider-Man. I wanted to tell you, Michelle, because me and Ned have both been lying to you. And then she's like, Ned knew. Yeah, don't be mad at Ned, okay? Oh, I'm mad at Ned. Well, he's in the hospital. And then Michelle is just like, she just gives an exasperated look like, oh, I want to be mad at that guy, but I can't be. And so Peter's just like, Michelle, this whole time I've been trying to figure out a present for you, and my present is this view. And they look up, they're sitting on like the top of the Rockefeller Center tree, like they're kind of like, Peter kind of has them webbed up on kind of a hammock type thing, you know what I mean? On the top of the tree. And they're looking out over the view and whatnot. And Peter's like, and I also wanted to let you into my life just a little bit more. And yeah, that's nice. That's nice. And we get no inclination of romance or anything. We're just, good friends. Good friends. Anyways. Okay. Oh God. Okay, Dragon. I'm very proud of this bit. Okay. So we see J. Jonah Jameson back at the Bugle office. He's going through the stack of photos that Peter Parker sent him. And one of them is Spider-Man with what is obviously a prop. It's basically like a sack with a dollar bill sign on it. And it's like Spider-Man like at the school with like a bag of money, essentially. And it's obviously staged, right? But J. Jonah Jameson gets this look on his face like, Santa Claus is real. So the idea is that Peter yeah, what's he gonna do? It's just a prop, it's not gonna prove anything. Let him have his fun sling, let him have his fun, Yeah. He is real. Santa Claus is real. And he's taken an unflattering photo of Spider-Man. All right. But I just love the whole idea of of course, J.K. Simmons delivering that type of performance. All right, wrapping up here. Basically, we get three scenes to wrap things up. At the hospital, we see Ned, and of course, Ned, his face is not looking good. It's kind of like Two-Face, except it's like 3/4 face. Like 3/4 of his face is messed up. And yes, this line is on the nose, Dragon. I know it is, but Michelle...
Avenge me?
No. Michelle's like, oh, wow, Ned, you look like a hobgoblin.
Ah!
And then she also says, she takes a pause. That's hot. And of course, Peter feels very guilty for Ned's state. Ned's not really saying much. This is all kind of setting things up. Ned had the accident. He's now deformed. We're going to see what that brings.
Yep.
Okay. So, oh God. All right. So then we see Billy and Mrs. Connors, and they're visiting a deformed Kurt Connors in a hospital wing, but it's behind glass for safety. And Kurt Connors, he's like half deformed, right? He's like he's kind of mostly transformed back into the human, but he's got like green scales over his skin, and he just looks at his wife and he's horrified, and he's just like, why did you bring him here? And then we just have a pan out from the prison. Why did you bring him here?
Oh.
And of course, that's just a tragic sort of play. Oh, and by the way, of course, J. Jonah Jameson getting the Spider-Man picture is his wrap up to his Scrooge arc. So, but I don't know. I just really like the whole, like, why did you bring him here? Because, of course, the whole thing with Connors is he does not want his son to think of him as a monster. That was his whole motivation.
I like that. It's a good ending for that.
Right. Okay. So we see May and Peter drinking some eggnog together, perhaps a little too much of it because Peter is technically underage. May is just like, she's a little shocker, but she's like, I'm a terrible parental figure. And Peter laughs it off a little bit. He's like, don't worry, Aunt May. I've had like one. It's fine. And then Peter, Peter hugs Aunt May. They're staring at the fire and whatnot. And then we get a flashback of Ben opening Peter's stocking on Christmas and discovering a collection of vintage Captain America trading cards.
Nice.
And we pan out, we fade out from the image of Captain America on the trading card to an image of Uncle Ben in the war on the photograph. And then the camera like pans out and we see like the mosaic, and that's how it ends.
Nice.
Is Uncle Ben on the mosaic.
All right.
Yeah. And that's it. And of course, I'll have a couple post-credit scenes, but all right, get into your Act 3.
Okay, we start off with Aaron Davis. Remember, that's the of course the Prowler that we've set up at the end of that we've set up in Spider-Man Homecoming. The future Donald Glover's character. Let's see. Basically, he's walking the streets of Hell's Kitchen in around Christmas time. He meets with Turk Barrett. Yes, he's meeting with Turk Barrett. Of course, Turk Barrett being a big character, a recurring character in Daredevil and Luke Cage, and technically Jessica Jones. Well, let's not split hairs. The point is, it's not a big character. Sorry, sidetracked. He's meeting with Turk Barrett, which is from the comics. The idea that in the Ultimate version of the Prowler worked with Turk Barrett a lot. So I kind of found like it's a perfect opportunity to kind of blend the Netflix with the MCU in a really great natural way. And I'm kind of hoping the movies will do this. So I kind of cemented a few like little seeds of that here. And the idea is again, I can't do a lot with Turk because I don't want to I don't want to have to be reliant on the fact that people having seen the Netflix show. So I use Turk as a way of kind of rattling off a few interesting. I can't hear you, Tiki.
Oh, my bad. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Did you like the Turk Barrett thing at all?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Trek, I didn't realize my mic was muted. Yeah, I love the Turk Barrett thing. That's a good kind of tie-in, especially to the Donald Glover character. I think those two would naturally, that's kind of they're both in sort of the same role.
Yeah, and again, it's kind of a neat thing from the comics, so it makes sense to kind of blend the MCU with the Netflix, and that's kind of what the third act's going. We're kind of blend. Act 3 essentially is blending Netflix with the MCU.
Mm-hmm.
So and he'd be a way like rattling off a few events from the Netflix shows without. Basically, if anyone hasn't seen them, it's like, oh man, God, I gotta see what happened to know what Turk's talking about, man. That sounds cool. It's like a few like the awesome events that have happened. So. I will say this: so Turk went from running guns, to now he's a fence. The guy like he traffics stolen goods. So that's kind of what he's doing now. A little less hazardous because he went from Daredevil to Luke Cage, back to Daredevil season 2, where he was almost hacked to pieces.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, he's expositing to Davis here, to Aaron Davis. So again, it's kind of an Uncle Ben figure with Miles. So kind of a little bit the uncle thing kind of going throughout. It's exposited that Davis has been bringing him like a lot of stolen goods because again he's not a reformed criminal, he's still a criminal, just he's not a violent one. He's used those climbers he was so giddy about in Homecoming to basically again he pulls down a ski mask and he climbs up buildings and he steals stuff. That's kind of what he does, climbers. As the Prowler, and we have this great line from Turk Barrett saying when he enters, like, if it isn't the Prowler himself.
Nice.
The idea is steal some of Richie, sells to Turk Barrett to make ends meet. So it's kind of an interesting thing I thought to do with the Prowler.
Mm-hmm.
Turk initially tries to give him like shortchange him in the deal, and Aaron has this thing where says, "Come on, man, my nephew's over for the holidays. I want to give him a good Christmas." Turk says, "All right, because you're Santa's favorite.
Oh, God.
You better get me something really nice. You better get me something really nice. For Christmas."
Mhm.
Okay, anyway, so that's like a little bit just to check in, like, hey, we're also a little bit of nephew stuff going on, and of course, Prowler. Hey, Prowler. And again, like, we're seating in Turk Bear. So then on the sides, after that scene ends, very just in the same place, like he walks out, then Marco enters. "Well, if it isn't the famous Flint Marco, what can I do for you this holiday season?"
Mhm.
He tells him that Gargan, and the idea is that we know Gargan and Aaron Davis knew each other from Homecoming, so I would say, because Aaron Davis, that's how Scorpion has a lot of his connections, people who know people, so he knows Turk Barrett through that. And the idea is Scorpion and Turk Barrett go back a long way, so they're friends. So the message was, hey, get the turkey out, hey, get Turk Barrett.
Yeah.
So basically, he tells him that Gargan needs him. He needs a hitman, and he told him to come to Barrett for the Bug and Queens. Yeah, the Bug and Queens. And he says you know how to find the best, and he'll cover it. He'll cover the costs. Who are we going to? Who are we going to find the hitman? Because the idea again, like Turk would facilitate. Turk's a freelancer, so he works with everyone.
Mhm.
That we walk down the street to the next scene. We kind of build up kind of our thing here. Let's see. It's exposited on this walk to the next scene. Ever since Fisk got locked up, he controls the inside of the prisons. But out here, especially since Daredevil has gone missing again, he's kind of retired right now between this and Defenders. So, and we ended Daredevil season 2 at Christmas time, so it all fits.
Yeah.
Especially since Daredevil's gone missing. Hell's Kitchen is ripe for the picking. Again, a lot of people trying to horn in on the territory that Kingpin kind of freed up for everyone before he was pinched.
Mm-hmm.
People moving in on Fisk's territory. Most recent, the biggest name doing it right now is this crime family. Emphasis on family. This crime family from Yonkers. They put the first bid in. So basically, until anyone else kind of challenges them, they control Hell's Kitchen and a few of the other neighborhoods. He has and they have a freelancer for you and Scorpion. The guy you're looking for does a lot of contracts with them. So they go to this nice restaurant. It's kind of the Hell's Kitchen of it all. So it was a noodle place that was converted to a really nice Italian restaurant.
Nice.
So it's revealed that it's Silvermane. So Silvermane was.
I know I should know that name, but I do not.
You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this.
Okay.
Well, I did not have a Captain America reference. I did have an Agent Carter reference in this.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So here's the thing. In the comics, just the way it goes, the Kingpin's constant competition is another mob boss by the name Silvermane. Silvermane, he's an older generation mobster, and he has ties to the Maggia, which again, Madame Mask from Agent Carter. We had the Maggia introduced in Agent Carter. They're like the gangsters of the 40s who traffic in high technology. Like they stole Stark weapons in the Tony Stark era. These are the guys who traffic in technology and guns. And back in the 40s, they were just mobsters.
Mm-hmm.
So the point is, it's kind of like using a Kingpin figure because Kingpin's in prison. So this guy, logically, he would take over. Here's the cool thing I completely forgot about that. When I was doing my research, I was blown away by it. And I said, yes, I have to do this. Silvermane's real name, hence the silver, is Silvio. Get ready for this.
Oh, God.
Manfredi.
Oh, no.
And here's in the comics, it went like this. In the comics, Silvio was the father, and Joe Manfredi, the same character, was the son. So what I did here is the idea that Silvio was like the grandfather, Joe Manfredi was the son, and let's say 5 or 8 years after we saw him in Agent Carter, he settled down, he had a kid, and that is Silvio II.
Okay, I like it. I can buy it.
And I'm gonna have Ken Marino play him. The same actor.
Okay,
same actor,
nice.
But he's older. He has like either like silver streaks or he has like kind of silver hair entirely. He's older. He got some old age makeup on him. So the idea he's like in his early to mid 60s.
Okay.
Let's see. So again, it's a big old Agent Carter reference. And I love this actor from Agent Carter. And I thought I'd give him something. He's a little bit more serious, a little bit older. Like he's not exactly as hilarious and awesome, but he's like a terrifying mob boss now. So he antagonizes Turk a little bit because Turk used to work exclusively for the Kingpin. Now he's a freelancer, and Says, yes, Sir Barrett used to work for the guy who stole this neighborhood from my family, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You know, he says, like, hey, I'm a freelancer looking for another. I go where the money is, you know that. I wanted to show, and this is Dirk Barrett kind of being the smooth negotiator here. I just wanted to show respect to the new boss by asking to use one of his favorites before I sought him out myself. That and the fact, and then basically this is what Manfredi comes at him with. Well, that and the fact that I have him on speed dial. Turk has a big old smile on his face. Yes. So the idea is Manfred's amused by Turk Barrett, so he amends this. Okay, sure, fine. I'll hook you up with one of my guys, like the guy to go to for this. And it's in the holiday spirit. Well, in the holiday spirit, I'll cut you a break. I'll give you the guy on speed dial. I'll hook up the arrangement, the deal, for a percentage of the take, of course.
Of course.
He reveals that it is Lincoln. It is L. Thompson Lincoln, and basically he gives him his Lincoln would be good for this job. Lincoln, who's Lincoln? Oh, you probably heard him by his street name. Again, we're building up this guy. He's like the big guy here, big third act villain. Tombstone.
Okay.
Tombstone. Oh boy. And basically they exposit that he's been saying, and Freddie's saying he's been spending a lot of time in Harlem since the Bulletproof Khan got pinched.
Mm-hmm.
Like the idea is this guy actually could probably fight Luke Cage. I'd love to see him in Luke Cage, to be honest, because he has ties in Harlem. Tombstone. Tombstone's a Spider-Man villain who's he's a mob hitman and enforcer. That's what Tombstone is.
Okay.
He's a freelance. He's worked for Silverman and Kingpin, so that's kind of why I worked him in here. I'll have him to you soon. Meantime, anyone hungry? You can offer him to make him some food on Christmas. Again, Manfred's a nice guy.
Pleasantries, Manfredi.
Exactly. That's what I'm going for here. Again, like some old Manfredi love in that. So you guys allow this fathers in. Like, he's the family-oriented guy versus Kingpin is all power-oriented. Mm-hmm. So Spider-Man's swinging the rooftops. He's feeling guilty over his fight with Aunt May. He's kind of airing this out to Karen. Karen's advice is to patch things up, kind of speak from the heart. Before he can keep on talking about Karen about how to do that, they are interrupted by a mugging. There is a mugging going on. Basically, these three punk teenagers, are mugging a charity Santa.
Oh God, not charity Santa.
Yes, charity Santa. They got the bell ringing Santa. They're mugging the guy. It's like, give me that old man. They push him down. They run off with the looting and Spider-Man. He's going there. He's about to chase off the thugs, but he sees like kind of Santa's having some trouble getting up, and he does the responsible thing. Makes the responsible choice, and he helps the Santa get up, make sure he's okay, so he doesn't chase down the guys. So they kind of get away for the moment, let's say. And here's I'm proud of this. Tiki, this is a bit I'm convinced you're gonna love. I hope you're gonna like it.
All right, lay it on me.
He helps him up, and the reveal is it's the mall Santa. It's Stan Lee.
Oh God. Okay, that's great.
And what's funny here, so it's Stan Lee, and he says, "Wait a minute." Again, Spider-Man recognizes him. Mm-hmm. You're the Macy's Santa. Yeah. And then a moment of pause goes by. Oh, and you're that Spider guy.
God.
Yeah, it's Spider-Man. Spider-Man. Sure, whatever. Well, why are you here too? I mean, you work. You're a charity Santa too. Yeah, it's a way to make ends meet around the holidays. And he sneezes. Importantly, he's been out there for hours and he's kind of cold. But,
God, poor Stan Lee. You don't want to give Stan Lee a common cold, man. That guy's hanging on by a thread.
I actually gave Stan a role in this.
Okay.
So he says, he's doing it to make it. Oh, I'm just doing this to make ends meet around the holidays. He's a Santa who doesn't make a lot of money.
Yeah, like Homer Simpson.
Yes. And he says, I do this to make ends meet around the holidays, but I also do it for the kids. It's all about being, and this is like a little phrase Stan Lee actually coined along the way. It's all about being a purveyor of wonder to the kids. Mm-hmm. He says, but not, he sneezes again, but not rotten teenagers. Again, the guys just mugged them. Like those three. Of course, not realizing that Spider-Man's a teenager, just saying something like that, which is kind of funny. Again, he sneezes out in the cold, and he's rotten teenagers, and I've been out here for hours collecting for the children's hospital. Now I guess I'm going to be out there for a few more hours. He's going to sneeze and cough and all that stuff. Spider-Man tells him, again, long moment of pause, Spider-Man gets an idea. You know what? Santa, why don't you go inside there? He gives him like a few bucks. Hey, you go inside. You get yourself some hot cocoa. I'm gonna be back here in like I don't know, some undetermined amount of time because he's gonna be back there later. So you get in there, you warm up. He bars the Santa hat, his bell, and his bucket. I got an idea. We then have a musical montage.
Okay. Okay.
Again, Karen's playing the song the suit. Santa Claus is coming to town. And it's a montage of Spider-Man collecting for the Children's Hospital.
Yes. Okay. Well, yeah. Obviously, you and I kind of have. I mean, to be fair, mine's in Act 1 and yours is in Act 3, so it's slightly different.
So it's a fun montage of Spider-Man going all around like these other these locations we don't really see a lot with Spider-Man. He's walking the streets in New York. He's almost like a street performer. He's like saying, "Hey, charity!" He's just swinging the bell, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, Spider-Man! Yeah, let's give him charity."
Right.
Yeah, he's going all over the place. We see him at he's collecting a lot of goodwill. People are taking pictures with him. Hey, while you're taking a picture of me, why don't you donate to the Children's Hospital? They're doing it. It's working wonders. He's walking through office buildings collecting. He's like walking like in the elevators going to office buildings. He's at the Chrysler Building. He's going to the subway, Grand Central Station. He goes to Greenwich Village, where there's a fun gag where he knocks on Doctor Strange's door, no one answers. He turns around and
I appreciate that.
He turns around. There's a little Doctor Strange portal made, and then basically someone like a hand. It's either Wong or Doctor Strange. Like drops some money in the bucket. He turns around.
Oh God, that's great. That's great.
And also the last one, I'm proud of this here, again for the Netflix of it all. He goes by he doesn't on the radio. He does an interview with Trish Walker, and he basically says, "Yeah, I'm just raising money for for the holiday season, folks. Again for the Children's Hospital." He promotes the thing. Trish is like putting some money in the bucket again. Trish Walker, Patsy. Let's see, and Stan Lee, he's and basically, we cut from like him talking on the radio to Stanley overhearing the radio saying "Excelsior!" all happy-go-lucky, like charity. Okay, Spider-Man's feeling good about himself. So now basically we cut because that's taken care of. So now Spider-Man's just kind of swinging around. So, oh boy, Karen, I feel good about myself. It really helped someone. But boy, would I love to deck the halls of those rotten kids that stole from that nice Santa. Before, let's see, Karen also has a police scanner built in there, so she kind of hears like, Peter, there's a bulletin going on about robbery around the tenement buildings. So it goes around the tenement buildings again, kind of like in between. It's in Manhattan, so it's kind of like between Hell's Kitchen, which we know bad stuff's coming, and it's in the greater Manhattan area. So basically Spider-Man is reporting to this like bulletin going on, and again, it's the Sandman baiting him.
Okay.
Basically, it's like there's someone's robbing the tenement buildings in a striped jacket. He knows the striped jacket from earlier on. It's the Sandman. That'll do. That'll do. And then basically in the sequence, he has Silver Bells playing Silver Bells, Silver Bells. Da, 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 da. So we have Marco versus Spider-Man in the streets. Not a long fight. Just he uses like a manhole cover like to avoid some webbing, and he throws it into a cab. Spider-Man makes sure the cabbie checks on the cabbie, make sure he's okay. She then web slings up to the fire escapes. He's kind of following Marco on the fire escapes. He goes inside of an abandoned apartment, again, like kind of abandoned tenement buildings right now. And this is like here's the Tombstone entrance. So Marco escaped. No, Spider's like, again? He got away again, but then he realized there's a man in a black suit waiting for him. And it's Tombstone. Bum, bum, bum. So this is the first time Spider-Man's had to go up against an assassin or a hitman in any of the Spider-Man media things.
Now, you see, when you brought up the hitman thing, I was like, oh, is he going to call the Punisher?
Oh, Punisher's not a hitman.
Then why was the Punisher going after Spider-Man in that one issue?
Well, no, he bought into the Daily Bugle saying Spider-Man's a criminal. He's a crook. And he basically said, I gotta kill this bad guy.
Okay, fair enough.
The Punisher doesn't take money for killing people, Tiki.
Gotcha.
Anyway, with Tombstone, just to give you Tombstone's a tricky thing, and the reason we haven't seen Tombstone is because he has a tricky backstory, because he's an albino African-American.
Oh man.
But that's a cool thing.
That is tricky.
But seriously, that's a cool thing with his backstory, though, because again, I could definitely buy Tombstone and Luke Cage show because the idea is he was the one albino in Harlem who got mocked endlessly. He became a hitman and an enforcer. Basically, he terrified people, and he was like the last thing they saw before they got killed.
Season 2, please. Yes, that'd be great.
That sounds really cool, right?
Yeah.
So the idea is I have to, again, it's kind of hard to see how they pull off. I have an idea, basically whatever gets the Tombstone. My idea of getting around the whole, again, technically it's kind of whiteface on black actors technically, so it's a tricky thing. What I'd recommend is this gimmick with Tombstone is that he just looks like the actor, but if you he wears makeup on top of the albinism. He's really ashamed. He's really self-conscious about it, so he covers himself up with it's blackface on whiteface. It balances itself out.
Okay.
I'm just saying, regardless, like if you wanted to come,
I think we can both agree there's no easy way to do that.
Yeah, but here's the cool way I have around it, though, just in case, is that the explanation, if let's say we ever saw Tombstone explored in like Luke Cage, the albinoism might be tracked to IGH, the Jessica Jones chemical company that kind of screws with people. They test on people.
Right.
I'm saying they got him as a baby, they tested on him, and that's why he looks the way he does, and that's the explanation around it, be my guess. The point is, which is why he's really strong and he's really durable, and he's albino, and he filed his nails down, so like they're really razor sharp nails he's got there. He's a really scary looking guy. If you ever look at him, Tiki, he's a really cool character. And I'm thinking Michael J. White or DB Woodside, but again, any really imposing, really cool actor. He has to be like a really a hitman with a lot of history behind him. That's kind of the sense you want with this guy.
Gotcha.
Okay, so right off the bat, he knocks Spider-Man for a loop. Spider-Man doesn't see this guy coming. The guy practically blends into the room in shadow in that black suit. He always wears a black suit. That's Tombstone's signature. Black suit, white face. But in this case, it's all black suit. So he just bashes Spider-Man right in the head across the room, and again, the music shut off. It's because of that. So again, right now, this guy's a big deal. Introductions. We ask about who are you? Tombstone. Really? Tombstone? That's your name? And again, here's what I'm doing with Tombstone. Here's the reason I saved Tombstone. It's always been building the Tombstone here is because Tombstone...
I'm sensing a reoccurring Guardians of the Galaxy gag.
Oh, but seriously, here's what I'm going with Tombstone is that he's the first really kind of serious professional villain we've seen Spider-Man deal with on film, where he's a guy who he's saying, hey, quip all you want. It's no joke. I'm going to kill you in this room.
Right, I gotcha.
Again, we've seen Spider-Man pretty confident. Like, no one's really been able to take down Spider-Man. Vulture was kind of close. We got to a really intimidating kind of like a guy who would believably kill Spider-Man without him having a chance against him. But so basically, Tombstone is kind of like rattling off a few details. Like, I've done my research on you. You've been easily photographed. I watch you, watch you on YouTube. I know exactly how you fight, kid. There's only one way this turns out: me killing you. And the Scorpion sent the Scorpion sends his regards. He's basically saying the Scorpion wanted me to tell you this is because of him. It's like revenge for the Scorpion. Pays a little kind of like a last line to him.
Almost. Right, sure.
Okay, let's see. So initially, Spider-Man he's not really taking the guy seriously at first. He's a little thrown off, but again he starts shoots a web at him. He webs up his arm, but Tombstone he grabs a great opening move. He grabs the web that has been shot at his arm after it's been shot there. He pulls Spider-Man across the room, and he pulls him close, bam, right in the face, he breaks one of the eyes, just when he punches him right there, one of the little electronic eyes. And he then, with the same web, he's starting to strangle Spider-Man with it, like piano wire.
Ooh, God, okay.
Pretty intimidating guy, right?
Yeah.
So again, then the battles of getting Spider-Man, he's never had to do. So he's really battling for survival right now.
Right.
Let's see. So a lot of action going on here. After he tries to strangle him, basically, you made the wrong people angry. That's when he drops the Scorpion thing. The Scorpion sends his regards. Believe me, I've been preparing to handle men much more dangerous than you, Spider-Man. Yeah, again, Luke Cage. He's been preparing the fight with Luke Cage. Spider-Man's like a pittance compared to Luke Cage in his eyes.
Sure.
Spider-Man is dodging a few again with his spider sense. He's dodging a few, but the gag is the spider sense and the one eye. It's it's all red. So again, there's constant danger. So it's not really helping him that much. He's going with the instincts
I like that.
So again, it's he's dodging a few blows, but he's still getting hit a couple times. Again, it's one of the most dangerous guys Spider-Man's really had facing in his early Spider-Man career right now. It's pre-Venom. This is the most dangerous guy he's faced so far. Let's see. So he leaps over him a time or two. He leaps to the ceiling. He's wall crawling on the ceiling. Tombstone grabs him and throws him down on the ground. Like Spider-Man's not getting away from this guy. Let's see. Oh yeah, like if he webs him up, he basically slices out of it with his razor sharp nails. He's slicing out of the webbing again, like seemingly he's unstoppable. Let's see. All right. Oh, wait, Spider-Man does get a few hits. He gets a few hits in his face. Like he's punching him in the face, and then we reveal like kind of the white underneath the African American makeup.
Right.
And basically
that's
saying,
almost Joker-esque. That's creepy.
that's what I'm saying. So he's
like
punching,
it.
like what the? And he's saying
Uh-huh.
that's personal because again, he's really sensitive about it. That's personal. It's a scare tactic I use sometimes, but it's very, very personal. Basically, kind of like a face of death sort of thing. This is the last thing people see when I get really pissed off and want them dead fast. And but you'll get to see it in your last moments. I'll make sure of that if you're really interested in seeing it. So let's see. He's Spider-Man's using all these different web combinations, like kind of with Karen. It's not working. It's not helping. He's like trying to bolo webs or all sorts of different web things. But again, it's like it stuns him a couple times. So that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. He. All right, so then basically the thing, if the eye wasn't busted from the first hit, then this is like the one that busted. Basically, he takes a really bad shot to the head, and that busts the eye, and basically, he has like Spider-Man gets a concussion with this hit, and basically he's muttering to himself because he's with a concussion in the middle of battle. He's kind of muttering, Karen. He's about to like ask Karen for like help or something. But he's like, Karen, White Christmas.
Oh God. Okay.
He has like a serious concussion going on here, and basically Karen's playing a really warped, eerie version of White Christmas.
Oh man.
I'm dreaming of. Basically, then now the fight's getting really deadly as this music is playing. Of a White Christmas.
Is it like a warped version of the Bing Crosby version?
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Of the Bing Crosby version, while like he sees snow falling outside, he's thinking of Uncle Ben, so he has White Christmas on his mind. He says White Christmas. Then all this is going on. So again, it's all warped and distorted. He has like a final look. All right, so basically, he's giving Spider-Man all these he's getting ready for he lifts Spider-Man up. He's about to kind of strike him a few more times before like the killing blow. And he says, "Kid, it's pointless. You can stop fighting. I studied you. You put up a good fight, but But he says you put up a good fight, but you don't know how to use your power. Power being the operative word. You don't know how to use your power." He tosses him, and he hits him like across the room for a second there, and he then is holding Spider-Man essentially by his non-existent lapels, holding him up.
Mm-hmm.
Spider-Man, he's in a daze, and while he's in a daze, he's having these flashes. He's having these cryptic flashes, kind of like the best way I can describe it. It's like that scene in Age of Ultron when we see what the Scarlet Witch has done to the Avengers' minds, where Captain America's dancing with Peggy Carter in silence. We just cut to it's cryptic stuff that you can't hear, but you're seeing it. It's just like really cryptic. That's the way it's executed here. So it's like your life flashing before your eyes type stuff. So a few eerie cryptic flashes of Christmas with Uncle Ben when he was alive. And again, we're seeing the Hank Azaria Uncle Ben, like a young kid opening up gifts. They're watching White Christmas. They're unwrapping the gifts that Aunt May has wrapped. And then, of course, as things are really amping up to the end here, he sees May alone at Ben's funeral.
Aww.
And then, the last thing here. So again, actually, he says this line, then he has the power line I just said. So he says we hear Hank Azaria saying, we don't see him say, so we hear him say, Peter. Then then Tombstone says the thing about kid, you don't know how you use your power, and then we have the POV of the Spider-Man. Basically, we don't see the burglar, but it's like that shot where he's holding the burglar up from the Raimi movies. Remember when he's holding up to the We basically see the burglar's perspective on Spider-Man in that shot. Kind of how Tombstone is holding him right now. He's holding him like he was the burglar. And Spider-Man has this line, as if he were saying it at that moment. He's saying, no. As he would no, oh my God, it's the burglar. He's saying no as we cut from that to this. I know it comes with great power. Again, like that's the closest we get to saying with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah, I kind of, like I said, I kind of had like that cheat line as well.
But I don't know. I really like what I do with this here. So no, I know it comes with great power.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
We see like again like another like kind of cryptic flash of just May and Peter at Ben's funeral. It's something that I'll never forget.
Oh man, okay, I'm liking it.
He clenches his fist.
You're really driving up the pathos here.
He's clenching his fist. He's freeing himself from Tombstone's grip. He's getting a few shots in. And now he's like morally thrashing him too, as he's actually thrashing him a little bit here. He's basically saying, what do you do with your power? You hurt people. Their families for money. For what? For money? You're the reason they don't have people around for the holidays.
I love how emotional you're getting over this, Dragon. This is a great reading. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just, this is the reason people don't have other people around the holidays, because of people like you. And now he's holding him like the burglar again near a window too. He's holding like the burglar near the window, and then Tombstone has the best line here where he says again now there's a lot more like smears of white on his face, and he's saying, "Hey kid, it's just business. Like it's just business, kid." Again, he's not taking this personally. He's going to kill this kid because he was paid to kill this kid.
Right.
Spider-Man's angry, tosses him out the window, and he catches him with the web on the way down. He's like hangs him like by a street lamp or something, like a lamp or a post. Let's see. So then he jumps from the window down there, and Tombstone he's helpless. He's dangling, he's all webbed up, and like the hands are away, so he cannot free himself. Spider-Man like punches him a time or two, and he walks away. To kind of grabs like a snowball, hits him directly in the face with a snowball. And what he does with this is like now all the makeup's gone. Now it's all white. How's it feel being powerless now? Then as he's walking away, Tombstone gives him again a bit of like wisdom here. He gives him a bit of, hey kid, almost like a little bit of respect. He says, watch yourself. Then like a little button on the scene, as Spider-Man's walking away, he kind of notices the kind of marker like by a bus stop or something, and he kind of timer webs him to a bus stop. Say, hey, you got the Sandman. Like Sandman's like, darn it. Okay, big emotional scene, May and Peter. Okay, so we just saw Spider-Man's been through a lot, right?
I don't mean to rush you, but you're close to the end, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
cool.
Okay, May and Peter. Here's a scene here. So, she's been worried over. She's been worrying over Peter. Peter beaten. He instantly tries to.
Yeah, you've had a good arc set up with that for sure.
So Peter enters. Obviously, he's beaten. He's really beaten at this point. Before May starts to panic, he just tries to quail her, saying, "Shh, I know." He's telling her to amp down. Essentially, easy. He explains that look, I know I look a mess, but you gotta understand. I basically explained that he does this for Ben. The last time I didn't help, he got killed.
So you're kind of going like that's sort of the same idea I was going for, right? Like
a little, yeah.
Like May sort of realizing that it's what Ben would want him to do.
Yes.
Okay,
not with the military background, but yes.
Okay, gotcha.
I wanted to be there for him. I wanted to be there for him and for you, but it's like the 16-year-old kid breaking down here. Again, he's just the kid, and he's doing all this great heroic stuff. But he's just the kid. And saying, I wanted to be there. I want to be there for him like this, and I want to be there for you. But it's so hard.
Mm-hmm.
Peter says, "Look, I will always." She says to Peter, I will always worry about you because I love you. I know he's proud of you, like I am, but he'd be worried too, like I am. But you promised me right here. You promised me like you promised him. You promised him to be here. Be here with me. You be here. Like, don't get killed. Essentially, don't get killed.
Mm-hmm.
Be here for me because I can't lose you.
So, Dragon, what you're trying to say is the world may need their Spider-Man, but I need my Peter Parker.
Essentially, yes. I pulled a little bit from the Flash because it was on my mind. Yes,
of course.
And then, of course, Peter has this line: "You'll never lose me, May. You'll never lose me." And then, again, now they're kind of consoling each other, and she has this kind of sad, beautiful line where she says, "Ben was the glue that held us together. I've been worried. I've been worried I'm not enough." And then Peter says, Peter goes behind her, like basically hid it somewhere under a floorboard. So he gets the gift that he got from May.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, he's still the glue. She opens up the gift, and it's a snow globe with a picture inside of it of the three of them at Christmas time. And he added a little modification to it. So basically, because again, this is the stuff he got at Radio Shack with the snow globe.
Right, right.
It projects the image like onto a wall, and it plays White Christmas.
Oh, you got it. You got it. You
They hug.
sly dog, you.
Let's see, they hug each other, and beyond that, I have just like kind of like minute for this, and then I'll be done for the
Okay,
things
sure.
Let's see. Okay, we go to the prison. We reveal that Marco and Gargan now are on the same page. That I still owe you, and I want them to. Believe me, I do. And like he says, now Marco's working on an escape plan for them to get out of prison. And per the comics, I'm really proud of this. Electro enters. Electro is now put in the prison, and in the comics, the Sinister Six. I'm not saying they're forming the Sinister Six entirely, but I will say this: in the comics, the Sinister Six were broken out because Electro caused the power failure.
Okay, that makes sense.
So Electro enters, and then Marco gets an idea. One could say,
an awful idea.
Yes, he says, that's our way out. Spider-Man finds the three. Meanwhile, Spider-Man finds the three teens who stole from Santa Claus as they're on his naughty list. A little bit of Deadpool reference, I know.
Right, right.
And lastly, here's the last bit. You're gonna love this. You're gonna love this.
Okay, hit me with it.
We have Santa Stan in his apartment.
Oh God.
He finds a red bucket with a note on it. The note says, I took care of the children's hospital. You hold on to this. Call it a Christmas bonus. Merry Christmas, Spider-Man. Stanley Claus goes, aw. And he says, like, just again, it's the last couple minutes, like, we don't care. It's just the sort of moment if he just says almost like out the window to New York. Or to himself, whichever just sounds better. He says, Merry Christmas, Spider-Man.
I love it.
Hence the title. Merry
Christmas. That's great. That's great.
Okay, what's your mid-credit?
Okay, so my mid-credit is basically we see a fully put together news report from Betty Brant, who is defending Spider-Man's name from the slanderous photo that J. Jonah Jameson is using. Like, come to find out, the sack that was missing was actually just a sack that was used for dodgeballs at the gym. And I'm sorry, not Peter Parker, but Spider-Man must have painted the $sign on himself. At any rate, there was no money to be found. Basically, what happened is that they found the sack. You know, they found the sack, the dollar sack, but it was empty, and so Betty Brant's like trying to clear Spider-Man's name. It's pretty obvious that it's a joke, you know. But then we cut to J. Jonah Jameson face to face with Betty Brant, and she looks scared, you know. She's like, "Do you like it, sir?" And then J. Jonah Jameson looks pissed, you know, because he's essentially undermined, right? And he's got like that eyebrow thing going, and he's just about to. He lifts one finger, he opens his mouth, and then we cut back to credits.
Okay.
So basically, it's like, you know, it's like J. Jonah Jameson's ultimate, like, I believe in Santa Claus gift kind of turned on its head.
Yeah.
and then the post-credit scene, Dragon, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love this. Oh, I am really proud of this one. Okay, it's Captain America.
Yeah.
As a mall Santa, so he's got the beard.
Oh my God.
Which I think is clever, of course, because in Infinity War he has a beard, and now he has a Santa beard. Yeah,
I'm loving it.
And he's got the bell, and he's like, you know, kids, if you want to donate to a charity, I've got a charity for you. Toys for Tots. My gosh, all the good little boys and girls who are unfortunate this time of year could really use your help. So be a hero for Toys for Tots. Then he points at the camera, gives a little wink, and then, Dragon, we get a link to the Toys for Tots website at the end.
Yeah?
I'm just saying, I think that's a nice, like, kind of like, the post-credits literally is basically Captain America doing a charity plug, complete with, like, the link to the charity. All right, and that's it.
Okay, my mid-credits. And the minute I do the voice, you're going to know exactly who it is, but this is built as a reveal at the end.
Okay.
So the Tinkerer, who again, hey, it's the Tinkerer. You know, want to set up with the Tinkerer for like the next movies. You know, like how he's building weapons for villains and stuff.
All right.
So the Tinker has been coerced to visit a man in prison. It was obscure until the very ending of the scene. And, Mason's welcome there. He says, I felt compelled to be here. Again, they strong armed into showing up to make sure that he got the invitation. Like, he's not being threatened. He's like, hey, make sure you show up. What's this about? I've read up on your exploits.
Oh, God.
I've seen your handiwork with the Vulture. Very impressive.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh. It's just your Fisk impression is so distinct. Go ahead.
Is it not good?
No, it's good. I'm just saying it's very distinct. It's like, oh, that takes me right back to the Daredevil season 2 days. Go ahead.
See, as basically said, he's very impressed by the fact what it did for the Vulture, and word gets around. The idea is the Kingpin hears everything and wants to keep it that way. It's kind of the crux of the scene. Basically saying, I'm sure people will be looking to hire you. He says, you see, Mr. Mason, I care about New York. And I care about its future, even from here. I've come to learn that New York is becoming an increasingly complicated place. And times are changing.
I know New York. I need New York. I know I need. You need New York.
All right. And I think I require a smarter approach. So I'm offering you an arrangement with 2 stipulations. That is for you to agree or leave on the table. You to agree, basically, he's like making sure he's not threatening, but again, this could work to his benefit. He's got other plans in the works, so again, it'd be helpful, but if not, all right. You see, I wish to fund your work. Again, he wants to fund him making all the suits. He wants to own everything. I only wish to know what your project is and its application. Mason saying, so you want to know who and what? Correct. And like any good investor, I require final say. A little bit of homage to the Marvel Sony deal. Mm-hmm. A fail-safe to anything you build, for anyone you build it for. So what I'm doing here is this is like the classic thing we can finally get from Spider-Man, where the Kingpin is like manufacturing all these villains. He's funding the villains.
Gotcha.
And he has if any of the villains cross him, he can shut them down, knowing the specs of their suits and stuff. So he'll know if Silvermane's up to something. He can make sure his jobs fail. He can make sure Kingpin has all the power. It's awesome. Do we have a deal? Yes. Happy holiday, Mr. Mason. That's my post credit. I mean, that's my mid credit.
Big credit. Yeah.
My post credit's very short. Post credit's just a gag. It's
okay.
You see, we cut. We're at the upstate facility. Happy Hogan is walking in an Iron Man suit. He's in an Iron Man suit, and he said, "Yeah." It's basically we don't even see the inside. It's just basically someone in an Iron Man suit. Yeah, we hear Jon Favreau saying, "Oh man, this is cool." And Tony's off to the side saying, "Happy now." Yeah, this is great. Oh, what happens if I do this? And basically, what he does is he accidentally cues a repulsor blast that puts a big hole in the wall and propels him out of the scene. And then we just. And Tony just face palms and puts his hand to his face like it gets a headache or something. So, this is why we can't have nice things. It's Malibu all over again. And that's the end.
I love it. Okay. All right. Final thoughts, Dragon. All right. So Dragon, I did really like yours a lot. I will admit though, I think you maybe had maybe 2 or 3 too many villains. I appreciate what you were trying to do with all the villains and how they're kind of working off of each other and everything. To me, it's just the villain sort of almost took away from the Christmassy elements of the story. However, I will say that once you got to the last one, I'm
Tombstone.
Tombstone, yeah. Tombstone was really well done. He was really well realized. I gotta just kind of I think maybe you should have probably picked one of Flint Marko or the Rhino. I don't necessarily think you had to have both of them. Having said that, like I said, the villain thing is kind of my main sort of nitpick with it. But I thought yours was really good. It accomplished a couple very successful things, Dragon. I think you you were really looking to tie this into the Netflix universe, and that makes sense, of course, because Spider-Man's a street level hero, and I think you did that very well. You know, it was kind of a nice sort of tapestry to weave us into that sort of general direction. I think your humor's on point, and I love what you've done with Stan Lee. Like I said, I would have liked to see a little bit more Christmas stuff in there and a little less of the like villain action stuff. But for what it is, Dragon, it was really good, really well thought out. Like I said, very, very good heartwarming stuff with Stan Lee. Awesome. I love the Happy Hogan thing with the suit. That's great. Maybe kind of wish you would have used Ned and Michelle a little bit more. Instead, again, like I said, it just your villains were cool. I just kind of felt like they were too much at the forefront. That's my only issue.
You know what's funny? You know how many villains I actually used?
Oh God!
If you count Turk Barrett,
oh God,
it's 10.
You see, that's what I'm talking about.
To be fair, though, I mean, look. I'm saying here. Let's see. I got Electro, I got Rhino, I got Sandman, I got of course Kingpin, I got Silvermane. That's 5.
So you do see the issue here, right? I hope you see the issue.
I see the issue, and I contemplated taking the Silvermane stuff out, but I found an opportunity because I was going to use Sandman, then I realized, well, wait a minute, again, because I love in Spectacular Spider-Man, Sandman, Rhino, they really work well. Again, that'd be a way of kind of getting like an additional guy in there. I'm just basically part of like, I just found like a lot of opportunities with the Rhino, so I kind of worked him in there. I found like again, we're kind of doing some villains over again, but kind of making it a little bit more natural and kind of different. So
sure.
I just kind of figured that. Maybe actually no, it's probably not 10. It's probably like 9 or something. But again, it is a number of them.
Okay, all right. So Dragon, let me ask you: did my special make up for the dumpster pile that was the 13 Reasons, the 13 Days of Christmas?
It is far superior to that, and I would say it's balanced you out. It doesn't put you above it; it balances you out.
All right, fair enough.
I think it might be. It is one of your best pictures. I'll give you that. It's like in the top 3.
Yeah, I'm really liking it. I'm really liking what I came up with.
The only thing it's kind of like, again, it's something I wouldn't do. I'm not saying
you have a reservation about the Raimi stuff.
Well, I mean that, but more so I have a reservation about it. Again, I don't think it was bad. Just again, something I wouldn't do because again, I like to make my kind of fit within the movies as much, like fit within the story as much as possible. I think Ned becoming the Hobgoblin. It was cool. I like kind of the idea of that, but again, I think it's like for Christmas special, it's maybe a step too far. Like we're laying too much pipe with that.
It's funny you mentioned that, Dragon, because I feel like that's a reoccurring thing with my pitches versus your pitches. That my pitches do tend to have a lot of this like story stuff because basically like I like how the CW verse does their Christmas specials where it's like something really dramatic happens over Christmas. So that's kind of the way I was sort of seeing it. And Dragon, I've got to admit, I've not done any bit of research into the Ned version of Hobgoblin, so I really don't know. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if he even is disfigured or if he just goes around and wears a mask. Okay.
Here's the one cool thing though is that you could have done is that the Ned leads again. We haven't again the Spider-Man's tricky with last names nowadays, so they always reveal like what the last name is because they're not quite sure yet. Ned, if he's Ned Leeds, Leed. If Ned Leeds. They could. I want to say that version has a relationship with Betty Brant. One of the Neds, like there's Ned Lee, there's Ned Leeds, and then like a lot of people are saying this version of Ned is like based on an ultimate version called Genki, Ned Genki.
Right.
Ned Genk. But the point is just that one of them has a relationship with Betty Brant, which you maybe could have like kind of done with the Betty Brant character. I don't know.
Okay.
That's not out there. Something to do maybe. But I mean, on the whole, though, I loved your Lizard stuff. I really thought your Lizard stuff was good. That was kind of my favorite part. I love the ending was fantastic with the Lizard. That's I'm jazzed about.
Why did you bring him here?
That was great. That's what I'm so proud of you for. That's the one I'm like. I think it's the most proud I've been with you. One of these pitches, like, that's really good.
Thank you.
It's one of you have some of the Better Call Saul stuffs up there too. So They'd say like that again. The use of J. Jonah Jameson was good. There is a Santa Claus. That was.
I was really proud of that when I came up with it.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to introducing.
It's kind of like the Stewie Griffin plutonium thing. It's like he is real. He's really real.
Yeah. I'm not thrilled with all your Aunt May stuff. Mainly the whole the great aunt thing. Well, not the her her mother.
Mm-hmm.
Working that. I wasn't crazy about wasn't crazy about that, but at the same time,
You like what I was going for with the Aunt May kind of like coming to terms with Spider-Man thing?
well, yeah, sure, because I also kind of had something like that.
Right,
What did you think of mine? What did you think of like all my Peter May stuff? Would you kind of put some?
Oh, I think your Peter May stuff was far superior to mine. I'll tell you that right now.
Because
like I said, I didn't really have a lot for May to do besides just kind of be on the sidelines and like, hey, Rosemary Harris, yay!
Like, for example, the Vietnam thing is not something I would have figured on. I'm not against it. I never in a million years would have figured on. I love how he worked in Captain America.
I think timeline wise, it makes sense that
it does. It makes sense because that's assuming he'd be your Uncle Ben would be probably close to his 60s.
Right.
Anyway, I don't know. With let's see.
And yes, I am very proud of that final shot where the Captain America trading cards transitioning into the Ben photos. I'm very proud of that.
That's what I'm saying. That's the other thing. I'm not. I wouldn't have come up with the Vietnam thing. I love that ending based on it. I like where you went with it.
It kind of likens Uncle Ben to sort of like a Captain America type figure,
which takes me back to this wonderful scene in the comics where Spider-Man and the older version of Uncle Ben, basically Spider-Man and Captain America are eating hot dogs on a roof together. And he basically talks about his Uncle Ben, and Uncle Ben said World War II is the last great war, and then of course Kevin was the last. I don't think any of them were a great war.
Right.
But yeah, it was like kind of takes it back to kind of like the idea is Captain America has like some respect for Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
But I mean, yes, just you have a lot of good stuff. Just again, structurally, I mean, there's some choices I wouldn't make for the grander whole of where the movies might be going. But the Raimi stuff, if I were you, I just would have kept the Tobey Maguire thing. Would have kept Maguire. Would have kept J.K. Simmons, and would have kept Dylan Baker. I think the rest of them might have been overkill.
I like Franco.
Oh, I'm sorry, Frank. I could.
You love Frank. The line with Aunt May competing in the pie eating contest. Okay, you ate that shit up, literally. All right. I will admit, if I were to cut any of the Spider-Man things out, I would definitely cut Rosemary Harris. Alfred Molina, like I said, it just comes down to casting. Like I wasn't, sure the whole Aunt May Dr. Octopus thing did come to mind, but at the end of the day, I really do think that Molina will crush it as Uncle Ben and give us kind of like a more ethnically kind of diverse Uncle Ben than we're used to seeing. Like I said, kind of like the second generation American style Uncle Ben.
Oh, and sure, it's just like the whole familiar face of it all is the thing that kind of puts me up. Not the acting, of course. I mean,
like I said, you'd use makeup and stuff. Like you'd make sure he looks as little like Dr. Octopus as possible.
Right. All right. I mean, I'm kind of proud of my take on Electro too. Kind of like those.
You did do a good Electro. Yes, I like the back and forth banter that Spidey has with him.
All right. What'd you think of Happy Hogan? Because I was thinking about cutting that out.
I love Happy Hogan. I'm glad you didn't cut him out. I was dying from that post-credit scene. I was dying.
But I tell you though, that Stan Lee thing, it was kind of, it dawned on me, because I was thinking where to put Stan Lee as Santa Claus, and I realized, wait a minute. What if it was both? And what if we had kind of like, Stan just having what if we made like the most, again, kind of another like uncle figure in the line of these uncle figures, kind of being like just a nice guy that Spider wants to help out. And in ways, he's kind of getting his Christmas spirit back.
Right. Yeah, it was good.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so I guess let's unwrap what is coming up on the season finale, folks. On the season finale, we are talking about a very, very important and powerful episode of All in the Family. Of course, we already did Edith's breast cancer scare as the season finale for season 2 of Christmas in July. This time, we're looking at another Edith-centric episode, Edith's Crisis of Faith. And man, oh man, Dragon. It's a 2-parter. It's got some good Archie Bunker comedy. It's got some cool products. But it's a heavy episode in all the best kind of ways, and I can't wait to break it down. All right, so tropes.
All right, we're just going to go back and forth, kind of list some tropes that we got from ours, I guess. So definitely Stan Lee Claus, Santa Clauses.
Oh yeah. Putting the mistletoe underneath the microscope.
I love that so much. Let's see. Okay, I got snow and I got White Christmas.
Like I said, like the science kind of dissecting, like we got wrapping paper, we got eggnog, we got Santa hats, that kind of stuff in Connor's science experiment.
I got a boatload of Christmas songs, and again, I love the advent of Karen because I can do stuff like that. I was really proud of that. Like, kind of Karen play, like how to score the things practically.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I have I have kind of like the competition to get the girl the present.
I got the Christmas shopping montage.
Oh yeah. I've got kind of like the charity Santa, like Spidey, kind of going around delivering presents.
I also have the charity thing with Spider-Man.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Let's see. I got Rockefeller Center.
As do I.
Yep. Let's see. I used Christmas lights as weapons.
Okay, I did not do that. So please. J. Jonah Jameson is my Scrooge.
Sure. I don't think I have a Scrooge.
Yeah, you don't need a Scrooge and everything.
Yeah, sure. All right, let's see.
Kirk Connors Kirk Connors has the whole "I'll be home for Christmas" plot line going.
I got
ends in a very tragic way.
I got kind of the Christmas Without a Loved One, of course. Got Christmas.
Oh yeah, big time. And it's fair to say that permeates in both of ours.
Certainly. I got a lot of references to the North.
Christmas jail visit for me.
As do I.
Mm-hmm.
It's like bingo.
Yeah,
Okay.
Right.
Let's see. I already had visitor and the prison visitor and the holidays. All right. Gift. Someone having trouble around the holidays. With the Peter May stuff. Just kind of having some
Sure.
issues around the holidays.
Mm-hmm.
And the emotional kind of resolution to those issues, at the very end, kind of emotional kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Fruitcake as a weapon.
Oh yeah, no, that was great. Tobey Maguire is my mall Santa.
Nice.
How about the barrage of people in Santa suits trying to rob the mall, much in the style of Santa Mask?
Yes, and I love that because basically, in hindsight, I might have tried to rip off that idea had I known, because I just realized, my cartel guys just kind of guys in masks, and they would have been a little much though. That's probably probably why. Just a Christmas Revenge.
Sure.
I'm seeing it.
Do that.
Christmas Revenge. I mean, Reverse Flash and Christmas Revenge.
Exactly. Merry Christmas, Flash.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Mason.
Let's see. I think I'm pretty much getting towards the
seasonal
end.
colors, green and red, because of the opening with Electro, green and red.
Captain America at the end of mine, giving a legit charity message.
Grinch references again with Electro. A lot of Grinch references.
How about for me, kind of the idea of giving someone a gift that's not an object.
Yeah, sure. And I also had the thoughtful gift, the kind of the handmade gift with the snow globe, and I also had kind of like the gift that keeps on giving reference.
Sure.
And a lot of Iron Man 3 Christmas references. I had a couple in there. I had a couple of those.
Okay.
And the Christmas bonus. Okay, I think that's it.
All right. So, folks, much like Spider-Man Homecoming deconstructed the Spider-Man tropes and put them into a fresh new package, that's been our goal, and especially with Season 4 of Christmas in July, where our fresh new packages, we don't have to do 24 or 30, we only do 12. And that's it, folks. We like to fine-tune those tropes. We like to get that eggnog. Oh, by the way, Dragon, I had eggnog.
Yes, you did. You did.
Yeah. We just like to take them all. We like to take all those good old tropes, and much like what Peter Parker does, we like to study them. We like to dissect them. We like to pull them apart and piece them back together, because gosh darn it, that's just how we like to spend our time.
But Tiki, I can't help but feel I'm forgetting something within the last couple of minutes or at the very beginning of Act 1 for one of our
right.
If there was only a term, Tiki, it's probably because we're having such a good time with this Spider-Man pitch, and we have all these wonderful ideas. Folks, this is the culmination of our going through the tropes, one could say, because we come up with a really great pitch, and how do we get a good pitch like this going? We have a good pitch going like this because we've seen so many Christmas specials. We know when it works and when it doesn't. So we put all the good stuff and some original ideas and some just general love we have for a show, material, or a character in the MCU like Spider-Man here. And Tiki, it's eating away at me. It's eating away at me like it does Wilson Fisk not having enough money for postage to send Daredevil that "I hate you" Christmas card. It's like, Mr. Murdoch, I Christmas letter, but I don't have the stamps. Tiki, there was only Tiki. I almost I just wish I need a Christmas miracle. Tiki, Christmas miracle. If only there were a term. If only there were a simple term that maybe a Dr. Curtis Connors had figured out to analyze this seasonal process of coming up with the perfect Christmas analogy for going through tropes and keeping track of what works, what does not, what is repetitive, and what gives you that holly jolly feeling.
Wow.
For Vanessa, do you have any suggestions, Tiki? Do you?
Yes, Mr. Fisk. I believe the answer is putting the mistletoe underneath the microscope next time on Christmas in July.
La la la
La
la
la la la la la la.
Mr. Murdoch.
Whatever this kid's eating for breakfast, I want some.